Braden Shaker Timex because he takes a licking and keeps on ticking. Constantly knocked down this season, Braden Shaker has consistently gotten back up to keep this Hawaii offense battling. Year 3 of the Timmy Chang era in Manoa has had its share of ups and downs, both celebrations and disappointments. And today, Hawaii is tasked to literally raise its game at 4,500 feet. For the last time this season, the Rainbow Warriors are road warriors, traveling to the cold climate of Logan, Utah. Hawaii and Utah State, a Mountain West throwdown in the mountains. We welcome you to Logan, Utah, where the morning snowfall didn't prevent some of the hardest core Utah State Aggie fans from descending on Maverik Stadium and still throwing up the tents, firing up the grills in anticipation of this Mountain West showdown. Heck, even the temperatures in the 30s didn't prevent some of the players on both sides from warming up shirtless. That's right, it is here at Maverik Stadium where Hawaii will take on Utah State in this Mountain West matchup. The Warriors 4-6 overall, 2-3 in the league. Utah State 2-7, 1-3 in the Mountain West. Aloha, everybody. Next to Rich Miano, I'm Kanoa Leahy. And Rich, the math, aside from the reading of the temperature, also very simple when it comes to the football on the field. You have one of the top offenses in the country in Utah State, 18th nationally in total offense, going up against a Hawaii defense that is best in the Mountain West in total defense.
Yes, all of the statistics. Dennis Thurman has done a phenomenal job at that defensive coordinator position, but it starts up front. And I'm talking specifically at the defensive end positions. 25 sacks overall for this defense. And when you start talking about Elijah Robinson, Tariq Jones, and Jackie Johnson, those guys have rushed the passer and been very effective. And then it's the lockdown corners. Cam Stone and Sebo, Caleb Brown have done a phenomenal job on the outside. This is a very good pass defense, as you mentioned, against a very good pass offense.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's get even further into the nitty-gritty here as you take us through the Kaiser Permanente keys to the game.
Yeah, let's start off with Hawaii offense, right? Run the ball in quick game. I'm talking tunnel, bubble, and middle screens. Change the math in the run game with tight end run and the quarterback run. Also, Hawaii's defense, the dynamic duo. Pro Football Focus rated Cam Stone and Sebo Caleb Brown as the best pair of corners in Division I football, locking them down against Utah State's prolific passing attack. Also, Utah State's offense, Stallions. The running back room has 2 dynamic running backs. Let them run. Rosso Faison, along with Herschel Turner Jr., are thoroughbreds. Let the derby begin. Utah State's D, one dimension. As crazy as it sounds, it's cold. Take away Hawaii's run, force Hawaii to beat you with the pass, and be one-dimensional offensively.
All right, well, let's go inside the numbers presented by Long's Drugs. You mentioned it was cold, Rich, and if anybody at home couldn't tell by the attire of the broadcasters, yes, the temperature at the moment about 38 degrees, which would put it near the top of the coldest temperatures Hawaii football has played in its Division I existence. You played for the Jets, you played for the Eagles, you played in some cold weather. Rich, how does it impact the play on the field?
Well, the snow has dissipated, right, and the wind is not real strong, so I don't think it's going to affect throwing the ball as much as I did earlier this AM. But at the same time, there is some differences in terms of cold, in terms of elevation. So there are some variables that Hawaii is going to have to deal with.
There's a look at Timmy Chang in his 3rd season. Got his 2nd road victory a couple of weeks ago at Fresno State. 2-14 are the Rainbow Warriors under head coach Timmy Chang. 1-3 on the road this season. On the other side, you have Nate Dreiling. He is in his 1st year as the interim head coach. Comes over from New Mexico State. So he has gone up against this Hawaii team. This will be the 3rd time now as the DC for New Mexico State. He has seen a lot of the variations that Timmy Chang and this offense has to offer. See some of the fandom in the stands here at Merlin Olsen Field at Maverik Stadium. Hawaii won the coin toss, elected to defer, so it will be Utah State receiving here to get things started. Back to receive, you have Kyrese White, one of the receivers, and you got a Hawaii guy from Kapa'a High School, Kahanu Davis, who was injured to start the season but has taken over now in the role of kick and punt returner. He's one of the guys deep for the Aggies, and it will be Ben Falk getting ready to put boot into football here on the road at Logan, Utah.
Yeah, Connor Davis is very athletic, and as you mentioned, punt returner, kick returner, we should see him in the slot as well today. So Kabah Warriors, Mike Tressler, proud of his former student athlete.
Hawaii has played in sub-50-degree weather 14 times previously in its Division I era. That goes back to 1974. Hawaii 3-11 in those games. I'm going to venture to say those were all road games. Here is the kick by Falk, and it will be retrieved in the end zone, and it will be returned here by White. And he gets across the 20, he gets across the 25, and will finally be brought down at about the 28-yard line. So that's where the Aggies will get started after a 29-yard return. And Utah State coming out onto the field with their quarterback, Spencer Petras, who is tops in the Mountain West in passing. In fact, 8th in the FBS in passing, over 2,000 passing yards this season in his 7th year of college ball. Spent 6 injury-plagued years at Iowa, Rich.
Yeah, I know he's only played 6 games, but he is a guy that can throw it all over the field.
And his first pass is a completion to the tight end, Josh Sturzer, as we take a look at the Hawaiian Financial FCU starting lineups. So we look at the rest of this Utah State offense. They are missing their star receiver, Jalen Royals, one of the top receivers in the country, out for the rest of the year with a foot injury as they try to run a little tempo, and that one is tossed out to Otto Tia, 6'4" junior wide receiver. And then up front, you see the line. Aloali'i Maui is one of the big fellas, 6'1", 305-pound junior from Pago Pago, American Samoa. But a Utah State offense, not just with regard to receiver Jalen Royals, but a Utah State offense. In fact, you can throw the defensive unit, a Utah State team that has been riddled with injuries, the majority of them season enders. As we take a look at the Hawaii starters up front, how good has Elijah Robinson and Tariq Jones been here in recent weeks? Sauce Williams, the D-tackle, one of the guys who warmed up shirtless before the game. You see the linebacker core led by Logan Taylor. He's wearing the calm green dot. And in the backside, Cam Stone along with Devin King, the 2 corners. Cam Stone and Sebo Brown, by the way, they were rated by Pro Football Focus as the top cornerback tandem in the country, but Sebo Brown not listed as the starter. Devin King is, and we already have one of the key defensive players for Hawaii, Peter Manuma, down on the field, Rich.
Yeah, and that would be huge because although there's been a bunch of good safety play, Peter Manuma is the leader. He's the communicator. He's also very aggressive, and he's a great tackler at that 3rd level, very disruptive, and he's really, I think, on defense, the most consistent Hawaii football player.
So Peter Manuma, who missed 2 games earlier in the season, that snapped a streak of 26 straight starts. Let's see what we can see here in this replay. Oh, and just got that left leg sort of rolled up into. And he will make his way under his own power, thankfully, to the Hawaii sideline. But already some adversity here that Dennis Thurman, defensive coordinator for the Rainbow Warriors, and this Hawaii D has to try to work through. Petras in a protected pocket. And that throw over the midfield logo is incomplete, intended for Will Money. Another one of those tight ends for the Aggies, 6'4" sophomore from Springville, Utah.
Logan Taylor, that inside backer, and that hook drop relating to that 2nd receiver in, doing a nice job.
So that's going to bring up a 2nd and 10 here. Ball spotted at the Utah State 40. Petras again with time, shifting the eyes, throws over the middle, and that's complete for a 1st down and then some. Justin Sinclair making the tackle there for Hawaii. But Will Money again on the reception. Came into this game with 7 catches for 83 yards, averaging almost 12 yards per catch. And then the deep ball is caught. Otto Tia, as Utah State goes in a hurry, pushes tempo, and 41 yards later, Petras to Tia for the TD.
catcher decides to go tempo and that he has a clean pocket in the trajectory on that football, it couldn't have been thrown any better. Slight push-off by the receiver, not called on Devin King, but watch this ball in terms of trajectory. Receiver doing a nice job of separating. Beautiful first drive for Utah State.
A 41-yard touchdown hookup. The 16th touchdown pass for Spencer Petras. And a quick strike here on the opening possession for the Aggies. Tanner Cragen on to try the point after. A perfect 20 for 20 in extra points here this season. Was a Mountain West Special Teams Player of the Week earlier in the year. This one booted through no problem. And just over a minute and a half into this contest, Utah State strikes. We mentioned one of the more potent offenses in the land, and they show it off. Welcome back. So Otto Tia on the touchdown catch. That's his 4th TD reception of the season. A 41-yarder capped a 6-play, 71-yard drive. Took a little bit off of a minute and a half from the clock. Utah State has scored a TD on its first drive in 3 of the last 4 games now after that touchdown connection. So, if you blinked, you may have missed it. Utah State on the board, 7-0.
Yeah, a couple of quick throws, right? Very efficient. And then up top with a beautiful trajectory, great separation by the receiver. And before you know it, it's 7-0.
Elliot Nimrod with the kickoff, fielded by Tylen Hines in the end zone for the touchback. Taking a look now at the Hawaii quarterback, Braden Shager. So on one side, you have the top yards passer in the Mountain West for Utah State. And for Braden Shager, you have the top TD passer in this Hawaii offense. 19 touchdown passes. And again, we saw the Shager bomb on display last week versus Fresno because there hasn't been a lot of deep throws this season, but need the quick game if they're going to have an efficient offense this evening. Hawaii playing from behind here already on this opening possession.
This afternoon, excuse me.
Shager looking to the near side, and that one a low throw intended for Jonah Panoke, and they're going to say that he was able to go down and get it. That'll be a gain of 4. Let's meet the rest of the starters for Hawaii. Panoke, who had a fantastic game last week in the loss to UNLV. Senecal, Ashlock, Hines, and Perry at the skill positions. And then on the offensive line, a little bit of a shift. You have James Milovale at the left guard, Luke Felix Fualalo at right tackle, and some of that a response to Zen Sotelo being out for the year. The previous starting left guard for Hawaii. It is a running play, and not much there, as Kean Sloan, one of the guys disrupting things for the Rainbow Warriors. Let's meet the Aggies defense. You saw Sloan. He has 4.5 sacks since being inserted as a starter just 5 games ago. Gabriel Iniguez is a transfer from New Mexico State, followed his interim head coach. There's the linebacker core, John Miller. He wears the calm green dot. And in the defensive secondary, Jordan Vincent, #1 in the Mountain West, 12th in all of FBS football in tackles.
Yeah, almost averaging 10 tackles per game.
Third down, Shager off the back foot, throwing it over the 2 defenders, but incomplete. Was looking in the direction of Nick Senecal, and so that's going to be a 3-and-out for this Hawaii offense, Rich.
Yeah, and not a poorly thrown ball, but one that the receiver has to continue to go vertical, and Braden Shager has to take a little bit something off that football, but obviously not what Timmy Chang wanted on the first possession offensively.
And so that brings out Lucas Boro, who has put together a 46.1 yard punting average here this season. That's 12th best in the FBS. And back to receive the punt, Kahanu Davis from Kalaheo on the island of Kauai, out of Kapa'a High School. And we have penalty flags.
Delay game, number 19 on the kicking team. 5 yards. Still 4th down.
Kenneth Ray wearing the white hat here for today's festivities, Rich.
Yeah, and when you have a shield type of punt formation and defenses are overloading protection, there was movement, there was adjustments, and the clock just ran down. And again, not the way to start a game, being penalized.
Yeah, a very inauspicious opening to this quarter here for Hawaii in Logan. Burrow now able to get into it. And it'll be fielded by Davis. He's being chased, a little spin move. And so he gets a minimal return, but was able to still put on a little bit of a dazzling move there to get away from the would-be tackler. You see the series record. Utah State leads the series 12-6. Last meeting was in Honolulu back in 2022. This is the first meeting in Logan since 2021. Hawaii has not beaten Utah State since the game that was held up here back in 2010. That was a conference championship season for the Rainbow Warriors. That was a game Alex Green went bananas.
Unbelievable game by Alex Green. I remember that vividly.
And the running play here for Utah State is shut down. Elijah Robinson, who has 43 tackles, second on the team. He leads the team with 10.5 tackles for a loss coming into this game. Also has 5 sacks here on the season, which ties him for best on the squad.
Yeah, and I don't want to compare him to Travis LeBoy because he had a great career in the National Football League, but very good defensive end play.
And Petrus throwing to a wide open Kyrese White, and he gets upended, but not before he's able to move the sticks. And we are seeing some protection here in these opening drives for Spencer Petrus, Rich.
And you're seeing tremendous accuracy and a catchable football.
And this one will be whistled and flagged dead, as Petrus was able to find Tia down the sideline, but after the whistles came in. But
Petrus just so far looks, I mean, I compare him to the NFL version of Phillip Rivers, but every throw has been catchable and accurate.
Yeah, he's described by his coaches as being a guy who can make just about every throw. Maybe he's not going to dazzle you with his feet. Not really that kind of guy.
Illegal
that arm
snap.
is special.
64 on the offense. 5 yards from the previous spot.
Timmy Chang talked about, he reminded him of Dan Robinson. I think he's a much better thrower of the football.
Okay, yeah, that was Aloali'i Maui who picked up that penalty after the correction was made there.
Petrus also just got invited to the Hula Bowl, which is now in Florida, so he will be attending an all-star game.
Yeah, not only is he tops in the Mountain West in passing, he is 32nd in the FBS in completion percentage. 65% coming into this game. Oh, but that Hawaii defense was responsive that time, Rich.
Petrus showing he will keep you honest with quarterback run. He's in the mesh, reading the end man on the line of scrimmage, and he will keep it. He's not going to get 40, 50, 60 yards. He may get 6, 8, or 10, but I'm pretty sure that Kanoa could beat him in a foot race.
I don't know about that. Malachi Finau and Nalu Emerson joining forces there on the stop. 2nd and 16 here for Utah State. Over the middle, that's a completion. Josh Sturzer there on the reception. So the tight ends factoring heavily here in the early goings of this one. That is a gain of 10. That'll bring up 3rd and about 6 here.
You got orbit motion, then you got a concept that's just spacing the defense. And Spencer Petrus making a nice decision.
See the hard count there by Petrus. Now looks to the sideline. Play clock down to 5. Petrus steps up in the pocket. He's going to heave it deep. Has a man, but he overthrows him. There was double coverage back there, but Grant Page was streaking down that sideline.
Quarters concept, and the receiver does a China route, which means the outside is going to stop at 5 yards. The inside guy is going to go straight down the field. He splits both defenders. Ball just slightly overthrown.
So Cam Stone, along with Kilinahi Mendiola Jensen in the area there defensively for Hawaii. And so Utah State bringing the punter out onto the field. And it is going to be fielded at the 2-yard line. That was perfectly executed there by the Aggie special teams.
Special teams have been special thus far. Kahanu Davis catching that punt saved 20 yards of hidden yardage, and that was executed to perfection in terms of the sky punt. Go down, become a center fielder, turn your shoulders, and catch the football. Hawaii with poor offensive field position.
Yeah, 44-yard punt pins Hawaii back. They spot the ball at the 2. And so the Rainbow Warriors getting another crack at it here. Shager standing in the end zone to sort of drag that handoff. And it'll go forward for some positive yardage. Landon Sims on the carry, and the tackle made by Jordan Vincent. Probably a statement we will make a lot here throughout this ball game.
Yes, and also Landon Sims, 300 yards coming into this game, 60 carries, 5-yard average. That's only good for a couple, but Hawaii backed up in their own end zone, has to create space.
Yeah, just trying to get a little bit of breathing room here. Crowd trying to turn up the volume knob. Shager out of the gun. Rolls to his left, and that will be a strike right on the number to Pofele Ashlock. As the most catches on the team, that was number 52 on the year. Almost 550 yards catching through the air here by Pofele Ashlock.
Shager feeling that inside pressure, steps to his left, throws a dart.
That's going to bring up 3rd and about 3.5. Ashlock in motion. Shager looking to run with it. A little deke move. Oh, and he is going to be rudely met at the 10-yard line. It'll be a gain of 2. It is going to be shy of a first down. Jaden Pearson came piercing in on that play.
Yeah, and it looks like a little quarterback design delayed draw, and then he gets hit again in his mouth. Really nice tackle by the Utah State Aggie defense.
So a tough and precarious situation here for Lucas Boro, who is looking to punt out of Hawaii's own end zone. He gets it off. Kahanu Davis is back, and he will let it bounce out of bounds near midfield. So Utah State with a 7-0 advantage here. Hawaii's offense unable to get anything going on its first 2 possessions. 8:09 left to go in the first. Welcome back. Don't miss a second of the action. Watch Spectrum Sports on the go. The Spectrum News app has the local sports you love and the news and weather that matter most to you. Download it today on your favorite devices. Well, Utah State with the early advantage here, Rich. 8:09 left to play in quarter number 1. They scored on the opening possession. They have owned field position here so far, in large part prior to that last Hawaii possession by a brilliant punt by Ryan Marks for the Aggies. And now they take over again on offense near midfield.
Yeah, when you talk complimentary football, sometimes it's offense, defense, but their special teams, like I said earlier, have been special. They've been playing well in all 3 phases.
And it's going to be a draw play. And bouncing out and getting some room there is Herschel Turner Jr. Just a freshman, has over 300 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns, has stepped into a larger role this season due to the injury to Robert Briggs Jr., who was one of the primary backs, and already Utah State lined up after the 13-yard gain.
18-year-old freshman, tremendous vision, and you saw tremendous patience.
And that throw to the near side gets to the target, Autotia, but an immediate tackle made there by Sibo Brown.
Yeah, so Sibo's back in the game at that left cornerback position, and he's a good tackler. He has length to cover the taller wide receiver into the boundary.
So 2nd and 5 here for the Aggies. Again, pushing no huddle here on the tempo, and that is a completion. And that is to Money. And Money is money for another first down.
What a concept. You got 3 guys flooding a zone at 3 different levels. Great decision by the quarterback.
The Hawaii player slow to get up here on the play.
To a defensive player.
It's Caleb Brown.
That's Sibo Brown. So Hawaii already seeing Peter Manuma deal with an early, seemingly difficult injury, and now you have Sibo Brown, who's going to be helped off the field.
Yeah, now you're seeing that balance, right? You're seeing the running game, the passing game, the efficiency of this offense, the quarterback being on point, and you see 13 right there. Come in with a shoulder and then roll over. So that could be some type of shoulder injury.
So a red zone visit here for the Aggies. Coming into this game, 2nd in the Mountain West, 14th in the nation in passing offense, 3rd and 18 respectively in total offense. And now going empty set here. Petrus with all kinds of time, had a man open in the end zone, but it was a little too tall for Jack Hestera.
This pass defense is man coverage approximately 60% of the time, and then a bunch of quarters. That was a quarters beaters, which they had 3 seam routes to try to make a play on the safety, just slightly overthrown.
Good job there by Teague Anderson, the right tackle, on the always active Jackie Johnson, who was trying to turn the corner. Anderson prevented him from doing so. Here's 2nd and 10 now. And it is going to be a late handoff there to Turner, who is rolled up and brought down by Jalen Smith. Read it to a T.
Yeah, you got Jalen Smith, right? You got Jemai Otis, and again, whoever Chris Brown, the linebacker coach, puts in there, they seem to make tackles for losses. They seem to be around the football. They play the pass well. Very good linebacking crew.
Loss of 4 on the play. That brings up 3rd and long here for Utah State. Looking at the sideline for the Signals.
Playing fast, making TFLs.
Yeah, that has been a specialty for this Hawaii defense. Petrus throws over the middle. It is caught, but it'll be shy of a 1st down. As Autotia makes the catch. It'll be a gain of 4. That gets them back basically to the original line of scrimmage. And so we are going to have a field goal try for Tanner Cragen. Cragen, who is 4 for 5 in field goals along of 40 here this season. This will be a 32-yard try.
Yeah, good job by those linebackers understanding down and distance, and I think it was Jemai Otis on that particular tackle. Big 3rd down stop.
Cragen, who had the game-winning career-best 40-yard field goal to beat Wyoming back in late October. Game he was named Mountain West Special Teams Player of the Week, and he pounds this one through right down the middle. And so a 10 spot here for Utah State in quarter number 1. 5:28 left to play in the 1st frame. Utah State blanking the Bows, 10-0. Welcome back to Logan, Utah. Some of the structures, a little bit of the visual here on the Utah State campus. Logan, Utah, elevation of 4,535 feet. The backdrops, though, stunning. Rich Miano.
Yeah, this is a stunning facility. This is a stunning stadium, and you look, it's a stunning afternoon, and I'm sure it's a beautiful morning in Hawaii. But this is a program that's going to the next level. They're going to the Pac, whatever you want to call it, in a couple of years, and they've prepared themselves by building this stadium and being a winning football program.
Yeah, stadium seats a little over 25,000. They've been pulling in the range of 20,000 on average here, but the snowfall this morning may have dissuaded a few fans from coming out to take this ball game in person, as that one is booted into the end zone, and Hawaii's offense will get started after the touchback. But it is an impressive facility. Maverik Stadium, they have made some very recent modernized additions, and it is stellar.
Yeah, anybody that's toured, saw the weight room, the coaches' offices, even the press box where we are, they've seen the evolution of this program, because they're in the same state with BYU. They're in the same state with Utah, and they're about to enter a new conference, and that's going to help in recruiting, and that's going to help this program be successful.
So 1st and 10 here for the Rainbow Warriors, and the give is to Tylen Hines, trying to find a seam and unable to do so. We saw UNLV, which, given one of the best run defenses in the Mountain West, but they did a great job against this Hawaii run, which had kind of established itself in the previous 2 games, Rich.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's not just coming to a 4-man front, which obviously is better than an odd front, a 3-man front against the run. It's stunting. It's the run stunts. It's also the linebackers, after the gaps have been canceled, flowing to the football at that 2nd level.
Shager taking the snap with some time here, surveying the field. Now he's going to try to break out, but he's unable to do so. He is snagged and tossed by William Holmes. 6'4", 240-pound, 24-year-old freshman.
Yeah, and you mentioned, look at the protection. They're doing a phenomenal job up front. Clean pocket. He has to climb up a little bit. But, again, coverage sack. All the receivers downfield were covered in what is apparently a man scheme in the back end.
Holmes, an amazing story, is from Detroit, Michigan, was an all-star standout baseball player in high school, drafted by the Angels in the 5th round in 2018, played for several years. found his way with some eligibility remaining here to Utah State, playing football really for the first time. A couple of Utah State coaches knew him, had some connections to him, and he is a crazy athlete, a 47-inch vertical, 11-foot broad jump. Last played football in the 8th grade when he was 14 years old. Now he's 24 and he's playing for the Aggies.
So impressive, so impressive. What's not impressive is this Hawaii offense on 3rd down. Braden Shager has to make that throw. He's under duress, but you have to take something off of that football. More importantly, it's the location of the ball.
And so another punt here for Lucas Boro. He has been busy. And an immediate hit on Kahanu Davis as he goes nowhere. A 44-yard punt there for Lucas Boro. Jaheim Wilson-Jones there on special teams with the stop for Hawaii.
Yeah, the backup corner doing a nice job at that gunner position, coming down, coming to balance, and hitting through. Good tackle in the open field.
So if you're Timmy Chang, you're this Hawaii team. As you see the opening score here, it was Spencer Petras to Otto Tia. And that is the only touchdown thus far scored in this game. But if you're Timmy Chang, Rich, and you're seeing what is transpiring, offense hasn't been able to really get anything going. That was a good bat down at the line by Wyndon Ho'ohuli. And you're this Hawaii defense now once again playing from behind. Well, what's the thought process?
Well, you got to win on 1st down, right? But they've been poor on 3rd down, and they have to continue to try to run that ball. But more importantly is that screen game, that quick game, the bubbles, the tunnels, the smoke throws on the perimeter.
Fake handoff. Petras in trouble, and he is brought down again. And this is Malachi Finau with his 3rd sack of the season.
Yeah, and they've all been in the last 3 or 4 games. Malachi Finau is really making his presence known on the inside. He's become a pass rusher, which is difficult to do from that 3 technique, but he's become a force in the middle.
So a loss of a couple there, and here is a 3rd and 12 for Utah State. Petras fakes the give, now throws, it is picked off! Intercepted by Cam Stone. And Cam Stone, who enters this game as the 2nd-rated cornerback in the FBS, according to the overall defensive grade put out by Pro Football Focus, gets an interception.
Yeah, that guy's like glue, right? That's a stop route, and Cam Stone reads it perfectly, steps in front of it.
By the defense. 1st down, Hawaii.
Cam Stone, one of not only the best corners in the Mountain West Conference, but I predict possibly playing on Sundays at that nickelback position, because we saw the violence in him in terms of tackling and his balance and patience, but very confident at that left cornerback position.
So Cam Stone with the pick, 16-yard return, 1st and 10 here for the Hawaii offense, and the ball touches the field, but Braden Shager, Braden on the spot, able to cover it up and avoid disaster.
That's the first fumble by the running backs all season long. So Anthony Arsenault does a nice job in terms of possessing that football, squeezing it. That was a good hit, hat on ball. You're going to see the replay. Tyler Hines, nowhere to run, obviously, but nice job tackling and putting your head on the football.
Yeah, it looked like John Miller was possibly the one to jar it loose.
The green dot guy, he's the communication Mike linebacker.
So now 2nd and long here for Hawaii. And a pick is thrown by Shager, taken right back by Jordan Vincent. It is his 3rd interception of the year. And just as Hawaii was starting to get some good vibes going after the interception by Cam Stone, Jordan Vincent takes the possession right back.
They're not sure if the wide receiver Tylen Hines again is seeing the blitz and supposed to break that route off, but obviously Braden Shager thought it's going to be a quick slant. Not a good concept, obviously, for the Rainbow Warriors, but that's a prolific safety. We talked about leading the Mountain West Conference in tackles at 9.7, but 3 picks as well. He can play the run, he can play the pass.
Gets to don the turnover cowboy hat there on the sideline.
Gotta love that.
And Utah State's offense going back to work, and a little bit of a seam there up the middle for Rasul Faison, who has now over 800 rushing yards this season, has 100 or more rushing yards in 4 of his last 7 games. He is 3rd in the Mountain West in that category. And they go right back to him, and he'll get maybe a yard, maybe 2 on this one.
I love the way both running backs really do a nice job of letting the play develop. Great patience. He can run like a big back. He can run like a small back, and very efficient in the running game, these two stallions.
Hawaii trying to blitz, and Faison runs right by the Hawaii line. And then finally veers out of bounds close to the 30-yard line. Devin King will be credited with the stop, but the Aggies moving again.
And I think Faison may be the best offensive player, and I talked about it in my keys to the game, is stopping these two running backs. Hawaii got hurt with the pass early, but here comes that inside zone type of running game.
Gain of 22 there on that sequence. And they're going to stick right with him. Faison spins away from trouble again. Chased down from behind. Lester Langafuaina able to finally catch up with the play, but not before another Utah State first down.
Anthony Sagapolu, Sauce Williams, those guys got to continue to stay in the gaps, but we need the linebackers to flow downhill, get involved in that running game.
So Hawaii signaling for a timeout. They just want to try to put a stop to some of this momentum. Utah State, after turning the ball over, gets it right back on a Braden Shager pick. And now they're marching. And now they are on the precipice of another possible touchdown.
You talk momentum, but it's also elevation, right? So probably a good use of a timeout. You don't like to use them on the defensive side of the ball because it can come back to bite you in the 2-minute drill. But at the same time, Hawaii's defense looks tired.
Yeah, we were talking with Nate Dreiling, the 34-year-old head coach, interim for Utah State. He's the youngest head coach in the FBS, was elevated to the interim position on July 2nd after Blake Anderson was dismissed as head coach. He was fired for his mishandling of a potential domestic violence incident involving an Aggies player. Dreiling telling us he got a call from the AD when he was in Dublin, Ireland. He said, I was probably a pint or two in, and when you get a phone call from your AD in that condition, you don't think it's good news.
You pick it up, though.
And he does get the nod to be the interim under difficult circumstances for sure. As that pass over the middle is caught, and across the goal line goes Will Money, 17 yards. Make that a touchdown for Utah State.
This may be the most efficient, diverse offense we've seen in the Mountain West Conference. You have tight ends, you got the running game, you got deep balls, you got short throws, and then you have the big tight end out wide, bodying up inside the paint, scoring 6 points.
That is the first touchdown catch of the year for Money. And now Cragen on for the point after.
I love that name. Money was money.
And the kick is good. And Utah State is up 17 here in the first quarter. What an opening frame for the home team Aggies with a $1:06 left to go. It has been all Utah State in this one, Rich.
Yeah, and they're winning all 3 phases, but we're going to get to see again. Look at the stack formation out wide. You got the little China concept with the stop route, and then you got the slant route. And really, when you have a big body like that against a cornerback and playing basically cover 3, it's an easy target with a large throwing radius.
And so the Aggies fans who did decide to brave some of the snowy weather earlier in the day, they are happy they did so because they're having a good time here so far.
And like I said, winning all 3 phases, very efficient on special teams, good field position, that's what it creates, and then an offense that's been accurate and very diverse, both running the football inside and outside. I'm just impressed by the patience of both running backs. These guys are the real deal.
So they cash in the turnover. 5-play drive, 61 yards. Took a $1:20 off of the clock. And so now Hawaii in a pretty deep hole here. On the road, at elevation, in high 30-degree weather. This is no easy task that lies in front of these Rainbow Warriors with still a whole lot of football in front of them today.
Yeah, we're talking 1 minute and 6 seconds in the first quarter, but this is a very important drive. If you do not score a touchdown, kick a field goal, at least flip the field. You can't go 3 and out.
So first down here, Shager out of the gun, throws to the near side, and that one on target to Alex Perry, who goes down to the field on the catch. Gain of 6. 2nd and 4 coming up.
Yeah, those type of throws, right? You want to catch the ball, and you want to be standing up, so you got to pick up the trajectory of the ball so you can actually catch it in yak, yards after catch, get first downs, move the chains.
Hawaii -2 rushing yards, 14 total yards of offense. The throw to a wide open man downfield. This will increase that total. Nick Senecal able to get inside the Utah State 30, by far the most explosive play of the day for this Hawaii offense.
Yeah, and Senecal had a great day at Fresno, so he's playing well on the road. And that was a seam, and that was a perfect throw by Braden Shager. His best throw of this football game.
And with that completion, Braden Shager surpasses 9,000 passing yards for his career. He becomes the 4th Hawaii quarterback to do so.
Yeah, and we're talking the great Timmy Chang. We're also talking Bryant Moniz. Really good quarterbacks on that list, Bryant Moniz.
Well, a gain of 40, perhaps some momentum as we shift into quarter number 2 for Hawaii. Utah State, though, flexing up 17-0 after 1. Welcome back, Hawaii, hoping this is a sign of things to come. First 13 plays of this game, 14 total yards. They got 40 on this connection, Shager to Senecal, Rich.
Yeah, and defensive coordinator Bobby McMillan said, show them the truth, tell them a lie, which is a disguise on the defense. Braden Shager read that defense. It went from a quarters look, which is a 4 high, to a 3 deep. That's the vulnerability, is the seam route versus cover 3.
Total yards, a huge discrepancy so far. Utah State at 193. Even after that 40-yard pass, Hawaii at 54. First and 10. Two teams swapping ends here. Quarter number 2 now underway, but we have penalty flags.
False start. Number 70 on the offense. It's 5 yards. It's still first down.
And that's James Milovale. We mentioned a little bit of a shift in perspective for him, moving from right tackle to left guard due to some of the injuries on that Hawaii offensive front. Luke Felix Fualalo getting the start at right tackle. Milovale getting flagged there.
Yeah, and maybe a more natural position for him in terms of height and athleticism, but he's got to hold his water. He's got to know and understand the snap count.
There's going to be a QB draw here. Shager can do this if he gets into some open space. He'll be knocked down about a yard shy of the original line of scrimmage. A couple of guys in there defensively for the Aggies. You had Jordan Vincent, who had the interception earlier, and DJ Graham II. Spent the last 4 years at Oklahoma, also on the scene.
Defensive coordinator Bobby McMillan also said Shager runs just fast enough to piss you off.
Yes, that's right.
Which is faster than you and I, and faster than Spencer Petras, but not blazing speed.
It was the perfect embodiment to describe Braden Shager as a runner. Shager with all kinds of time, throws, has a man, but it is picked off. He underthrew it. Taken out of the air by Torin Union, the 6th-year senior out of Mesa, Arizona, transfer from New Mexico State, who follows his interim head coach Nate Dreiling over here to Logan, and he takes it away from Braden Shager.
Yeah, and you're going to see the corner that continues to sink back, and there is a puka, a small hole in that zone coverage, but Shager underthrows that football. Not a good decision, not a good throw.
So for Braden Shager, he's now up to 12 interceptions thrown this season.
First down, Utah State.
And 19 touchdown passes, right? And you want your TD interception ratio to be 3-to-1 or somewhere in the vicinity of that. So not really successful in terms of throwing too many interceptions, not enough touchdowns.
Well, maybe the silver lining here for Hawaii is they're unable to take advantage of what was their deepest drive of the game. But Utah State pinned back, but not for long. It is Faison across the 15, first down and some change.
Faison will be patient, then you'll see the burst, and then you'll see him set the third-level safety. He can make you miss. That was actually a pretty good tackle by Kilanai Mendiola Jensen at that third level.
That was a 14-yard gain. Here's another big chunk. Faison in the playground right now.
It almost was a repeat. I thought I was watching the same play because watch the patience, then the burst, and then the make the safety miss. Look at that lateral cut, the vision. You saw that right foot in the ground setting the safety. He's legit.
Yeah, he played minimally last week against Washington State, was a little dinged up, only had 2 carries for 3 yards. But the coaches said he looked great in practice this week, and boy, are we seeing that effect.
Yeah, they've been decimated at the wide receiver position with injuries, but those 2 running backs are stallions, and that's a heck of a running back room.
Faison coming into this game 15th in Utah State history with 1,536 career rushing yards, and adding to that total, this throw is made and completed to Jack Hestera. That was a pretty nifty grab there by Hestera, and that'll be a gain of 17.
Again, when you talk about multiple receivers, tight ends involved in the passing game, and what do? They run to the line of scrimmage. They hold the chalk last. They figure out, is it a 2 shell, which means it's 2 high safety, 1 high safety. They're trying to figure out the coverage and then attack the coverage.
Utah State's offense is just cooking right now. It's Faison again, and positive yardage once more. Nalu Emerson and Lester Lungafuaina there on the stop. Another look at that last catch, Rich.
Yeah, and you're going to see again going through the progression, but that ball is thrown far behind number 14, and he does a phenomenal job of looking it in.
Yeah, Hestera, who played previously at Charlotte and Colorado. Petrus stepping up in the pocket. The throw down the sideline disrupted. Intended for Hestera, but Elijah Palmer there with the PBU.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with the passing concepts against certain coverages, anticipating the man coverage or understanding the 2 high zone in a really nice concept. Great coverage, though, by Elijah Palmer. He's not that tall, but he was in phase, which means he's in control. He gets his eyes back and gets the PBU.
Yeah, Kyle Cefalo, the offensive coordinator in his 4th year on this Utah State staff, has been calling a good game here thus far for this Utah State offense.
He really has, mixing it up.
There's going to be another draw. This time it's going to be the freshman Herschel Turner, and he looks like he gets across the line again.
It doesn't seem that the holes are gaping in terms of size, but it seems like the running back finds that, and you don't see the linebackers, which you normally see, are the safeties in an 8-man front really attacking the line of scrimmage. So it's always a consistent gain to that second level.
Yeah, got to give this offensive line its flowers here so far. Falepule Alo, the center, who was one of the team captains, he and some of the big boys up front doing just enough, as you said, to open things up for these backs. And that is a little pass across the middle to Will Money. We have called his name a whole lot in this first half, and Petrus rushing them back to the line.
Yeah, and those of you who are watching from Polynesia, there's 24 Polynesians on the Utah State Aggies roster, including 3 from Hawaii.
So Petrus gets them up on the line and then looks towards the sideline for the signal. Meanwhile, you have Hawaii defensive players scrambling to get on and off the field. Second down. Petrus throws another open receiver over the middle. This time it's Otto Tia who has a touchdown catch. Sibo Brown on the tackle. And we have a Utah State Aggie slow to get up.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Hawaii defense trying to catch their breath.
To an injury for an offensive player.
Oh, this is Will Money.
30 seconds in length.
Money, who has had quite the ball game here so far for the Aggies. 4 catches, 55 yards, but now they're tending to him.
Yeah, and if the offense doesn't substitute, you can get caught with 12 men on the field. It's when they substitute, you have the right to substitute freely on defense.
So concern here for Will Money. We mentioned out of Springville, Utah, a 3-star rated tight end by 24/7 in his prep days. And see if we can tell what happened there. Kind of got tripped up, tangled with Kilinahi Mendiola Jensen.
Yeah, and you know, Money, M-O-N-N-E-Y, 86, looks like an ankle, but he's walking off gingerly.
I'll give $5 for the purple hat.
Good size tight end, though. Good in the passing game, good surface area blocker.
Aggies already without another one of their tight end targets, Brock Lane, who is out for the rest of the season due to a previous injury.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned in the pregame, their best wide receiver, who is an NFL type of guy, is out for the season.
We also have a new quarterback out there. It's Bryson Barnes, the junior, and he can run with it. As evidence there, turns the corner, dives for the first down marker. Elijah Robinson was giving chase. We'll see where they spot this. The initial spot indicates that it might be just a smidge short.
Watch Elijah Robinson not get to the level of football, but stay square and be able to work down the line of scrimmage. Really good speed, and he's not the biggest defensive end, but very athletic, number 0.
And so a 4th and short here for Utah State. It continues to be Barnes right up the gut, and he is able to plunge through for another Aggie first down. Bryson Barnes spent 4 years at Utah, where he made 11 starts, threw for over 2,000 total yards, 17 touchdowns, 13 picks for a team that won back-to-back Pac-12 titles in 21 and 22. But he has rushed for over 130 yards, so he is kind of like the off-speed pitch, or maybe he's the fastball to Petrus's off-speed pitch, at least from a running standpoint, at the quarterback position.
And you're talking about speed, right? You're talking about this team that will run to the line of scrimmage, then delay.
Faison, a good job by that Hawaii defense, stringing that one out to the sideline. Mendiola Jensen there on the stop.
But they'll also go quick, right? Turbo. So they're doing exactly what they want offensively, and Hawaii struggling on defense.
And now Petrus back into the game at quarterback.
I wonder if that's just because I would imagine the backup quarterback's more athletic for the read zone, RPO type of running game.
Yeah, has 3 rushing touchdowns, does Bryson Barnes. Petrus much more the pure thrower. And he shows it right there. Adotia, the simple out, but it was right on target.
You know, and I've watched a bunch of their games prior to this one, and Petrus is spot on in terms of putting the ball on the chin of the wide receiver. It can be a 5-yard speed breakout. It can be that quick slant, the post, the go route. I mean, he's missed very few throws. He's been incredibly impressive. Maybe the best quarterback we've seen throwing the football.
Yeah, Kyle Cefalo, the OC, says he prepares like a pro, absorbs the concepts really efficiently, and that one is broken up. Penalty flag is thrown. Adotia, the intended target. Sebo Brown on the coverage.
Yeah, we're going to get a chance to see this one. You're going to see man-to-man bump and run on the left side of your screen. Sebo gets the little bit of hand contact, kind of wraps around the back, and that can be called.
Number 13 on the defense. Ball will be spotted at the 2-yard line. First down.
And so ball spotted at the 2. They do get Sebo Brown for pass interference. Bryson Barnes back in.
This is the kind of 2-point play, right? It's that area where you need 2 or 3 yards, and you're going to bring in the athletic quarterback.
And now he's going to throw and has a man wide open in the middle of the end zone. It is Josh Sturzer with his 2nd touchdown reception of the season. So Will Money, who was a very potent target for Spencer Petrus throughout much of this first half, he goes to the sideline with an apparent injury, and then it's Josh Sturzer, another tight end, who does the deed.
Offensive coordinator Kyle Cefalo doing a phenomenal job in keeping Hawaii off balance, doing multiple things offensively, creating tremendous problems for Dennis Thurman's much heralded defense.
Tanner Cragen for the point after, and it is good. And this has been a dream-like quarter plus here for Utah State. 24 points. Meanwhile, a nightmare on the other side for the Rainbow Warriors. Still sitting on a goose egg. 24-0. 8:54 to play in the first. Well, it was Josh Sturzer who did the honors with the touchdown catch to end what was a 14-play, 95-yard drive. Took 5 minutes, 21 seconds. Longest scoring drive this season for the Aggies.
Yeah, it's hard not to continue to say the same things about efficiency and play calling and accuracy, running game, deep balls, short balls. This has been a clinic.
Oh, Elliot Nimrod getting ready to boot it deep once again for Utah State. 8:54 left to play in this first half. And Hawaii reeling at the moment. Hines will wave for the fair catch. And so another crack at it here for this Hawaii offense. Braden Shager so far 4 for 8 for 56 yards and 2 interceptions. The interception that took place just a few moments after Cam Stone picked off Spencer Petras and put Hawaii in a favorable field position. That one really hurt and broke up what could have been some significant momentum for the Rainbow Warriors.
Yeah, thus far, you talk about 4 or 5 big plays that affect every game. That has been the biggest play that has affected the Hawaii offense.
And it's going to be a running play here and a good run for what appears to be Cam Barfield.
Yeah, I don't think Barfield ever went down. We're going to get to see the replay, a little bit of outside zone action. And yeah, you're right. He's on top of the defender, and he just keeps running.
So they'll give him 5 yards on that. Second down here for Hawaii. And Shager looking to throw. Steps up, and now he'll tuck, and now he'll just go down to the turf. Does so somewhat awkwardly, though. That'll be a gain of 1, if that.
The hook slide, wasn't sure if he could go forward with his body, and decides to slide at the last moment. Only doesn't pick up any positive yardage, doesn't lose yardage, but again, a critical third down.
Yeah, this Hawaii offense wheels have been spinning here so far, and Shager on third down, being chased, in trouble, somehow throws out of a mosh pit, completes a Nick.
Nick Senecal has really become the best receiver. You see the quarterback feeling that pressure, stepping up, taking a shot, keeping his eyes downfield. Good throw.
Yeah, Kean Sloan making him pay the toll after that completion. Just the second first down of this game for Hawaii. And now give him 3 as Jonah Panoke is able to get some yards after the catch. A little bit of a wrestling match across the way with Avante Dickerson.
Panoke coming off maybe his best game as a Rainbow Warrior, 2 touchdowns last week. The captain from St. Louis High School has to be proud of the Crusaders last night. They're in the state championship with a big win, and Jonah Panoke has been around a long time and good kid.
Yeah, 6 catches, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns last week against UNLV. An absolute gem of a performance by Panoke, as that pass was pretty gem-worthy to Kofele Ashlock. Hawaii may be getting a little bit of rhythm going on this drive.
Yeah, good clean pocket, good protection. Derek Favi working with different linemen week in and week out. Nice job protecting Braden Shager. When he's clean, he can throw the football with anybody. It's just been a lot of pressure.
9 yards there. Here's Sims off the left edge with a head of steam, puts down the helmet and is able to pile drive his way for a couple more.
Sims, a true 3-tool running back in terms of catching the ball in the backfield, protection, which is important in the run and shoot, but he just sees there's no edge to that right side of the Utah State Aggie defense, and he just turns it into the 200-meter dash.
17 yards there for Landon Sims.
Running the turn.
Hawaii stringing together 3 first downs already on this drive. They had 1 prior. Shager looking to the end zone, and it is incomplete. Looking for Senecal. Pretty handsy defense, it appeared. Jaden Francois was the nickelback in the area for Utah State.
Really nice job by the nickelback in terms of, again, pressing out. The seam ball is a tough ball to defend because the receiver has all that horizontal field to separate, but being patient, playing the hands and the eyes, and getting your hand in the pocket. Really nice job by the nickelback.
Yeah, saw a little bit of a tug of the jersey there, but nothing called. So second down here for Hawaii. Shager throws to the near side, has a man open. It is Spencer Curtis. He gets inside the 5 and is wrestled to the turf. And Hawaii will have a 1st and goal.
Welcome home, Spencer Curtis, who set the Utah State prep record years ago. Has since been surpassed by Puka Nakua, but Spencer Curtis is a possession receiver, got a little bit of quicks, and really a nice job catching that football. Big play, Spencer Curtis.
Yeah, 2017 grad of Jordan High School in Sandy, Utah, 2-time first-team All-State. Got 18 yards on that catch and run. So Hawaii with a golden opportunity to just get off the schneid here. Shager brought down and sacked for a massive loss. Lawrence Balatea and Bo Miley giving chase.
It seems as if the tackle definitely squeezed down, but it was the running back who, again, needs to be better in protection. He needs to be more stout. He does not do a nice job. And too much pressure too quickly.
Qualitea and Miley, two Utah products who were sharing the meal that time. A loss of 10. Shager on 2nd and goal. Scrambling to the far side. He's going to try to run, and he goes out of bounds. That's going to bring up 3rd and goal. So they'll call it a gain of 2. It'll be 3rd and goal from the 12.
Critical play. You cannot settle for 3. You have to get this ball into the end zone.
Hawaii trying to get on the board. Down 24-0, and this one will be whistled dead. We're going to have a timeout signaled by Utah State.
It's a 3-score game, right?
Utah State, it's their first of the half. 30 seconds in length.
Yeah, you wonder what the thinking is here for Timmy Chang. Is he thinking down 24-0? Still a lot of football to play, but 4:05 left to play in this first half. Is this a 4-down situation? Is it a touchdown or bust type of possession?
Obviously, there's still more than a half of football to be played, but I think you need to score and you need to get 2 and consider it a 3-score game, right? 8-16-24. But settling for a field goal, to me, it wouldn't be demoralizing, but at the same time, you got to put this ball into the end zone.
You see what Hawaii has done on 3rd down this season. Shager getting sacked a couple of plays ago. Hawaii entering this week 132nd in the FBS in sacks allowed. Sizable play here. And we have a penalty flag, and we may have a false start.
False start. Snap infraction. Number 57 on the offense. It's 5 yards. Still 3rd down.
So they call it against Ethan Spencer, the center for the Rainbow Warriors. And that backs him up even more. Now it's 3rd and goal from the 17. Shager in trouble. And he's going to be brought down again. Kean Sloan was first to him. And now, forget that 4th down stuff. Hawaii is backed way up. This now turns into a fairly challenging field goal attempt coming up for Kansei Matsuzawa.
Sideline warning on Utah State.
How about Kean Sloan, though, Rich, the 6'4" senior from Rockland, California, leading the team in sacks, has had 27 tackles and 4.5 sacks since being inserted as a starter just a handful of games ago. That was prior to the start of this one.
That's a great story, right? He doesn't even start at the beginning of the season, gets inserted, and now he probably is their best defensive end. He's relentless. He does everything right off the field, on the field, and he's been a force these last 4 or 5 games.
So here's Matsuzawa to try from 40. His long is 41 this season. This one is booted up, and it is good. So his 11th made field goal. He's now 11 of 14, and Hawaii at the very least can take solace in the fact that they are scoreless no more, but they still trail big 24-3. We welcome you back to Maverik Stadium here in Logan, Utah. Utah State, a team that has been riddled with injuries throughout the year, has still put up really strong offensive numbers. 2-7 overall, 1-3 in the Mountain West, but they have been in control and have certainly asserted their authority here in this game against Hawaii. 3 minutes, 35 seconds left to play. 24-3, Aggies up.
And this type of lead should change the philosophy of head coach Timmy Chang, who wanted to shorten this game, right? Run the football, throw out to the perimeter, screens. But when you're down almost 3 scores, you have to not necessarily go into up-tempo offense, but you got to be efficient and you got to be quick offensively, because there's only so many possessions left in this football game.
Then Falk with the kick. It is Kyrese White back. He will field it at about the 4, and he has a chance to return this one. A penalty flag. In fact, 2 are thrown. Falk is the last line of defense for Hawaii, and he finally is able to maneuver Kyrese White out of bounds. We'll see what the penalties are about.
Yeah, this one's coming back, but good tackle by Ben Falk, who also plays a little bit of rugby, and he's got plenty of size at 6'6" tall.
It is a 55-yard return pending the call here.
I think Jordan Love, the Packer quarterback, would be proud of this offense. Chucky Keaton, all those guys that have been very good for Utah State. Spencer Petras is making a name for himself this afternoon.
This is a long conversation here among the officials. Still no announcement. There were 3 different penalty flags that were tossed. Let's listen in.
There are 2 fouls on the return team, both during their return. Holding, number 9, that penalty is declined. Holding, number 40, it'll be 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First down.
See if we can catch this one, Rich. Number 40 there, middle of your screen.
Yeah, I think it takes place right by where the hash is, right in the middle of your screen, and you're going to see the flags flying because there's more than one hold. There's a couple of guys holding jerseys, and maybe that's why that hole was so large.
Yeah, Zion Andresen was the perpetrator there of the penalty. So they spot the ball at about the 21-yard line. Wipes off what would have been a fantastic return and midfield positioning for Utah State. Under 3.5 minutes to play here in this second quarter. It is a running play. And it is Herschel Turner, the freshman, getting the carry.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of Ashton Genty in terms of how he's a little bit upright when he gets the ball, but he's just delaying, waiting for the play to develop. But it seems like everybody seems to be copying that young man.
Is there a better compliment you can give any running back right now in college football?
Exactly.
277 total yards for Utah State. 170 through the air, 107 via the ground as that pass is broken up. Nice play there by Elijah Palmer. The intended target was Kyrese White.
Yeah, and Timmy Chang was talking about light bulbs being on defensively because for the most part, they've played well this season. But Elijah Palmer came as a true freshman last year and the light bulb was on. But continually makes plays in the run game, does a nice job. And it's tough to play that nickel position when you're playing man-to-man coverage on the slot receiver with a two-way go.
Petras fires, and it is a bullet strike to Colby. Yeah, that's Colby Bowman on the catch. 6'2", grad student in his 6th year of college football. Previously spent 4 years at Stanford.
A lot of length on the outside. The X and Z receivers can go up and get it or just position themselves.
A running play here for Utah State. Herschel Turner again on the carry. Is hey, check it out. The sun has actually peeked out now through the clouds above. We have a little bit of blue sky that is making its way through.
Snow-capped mountains. It's just beautiful college football setting.
And we're going to get to the 2-minute timeout.
This is a 2-minute timeout.
24-3 Utah State rolling here in Logan. Welcome back. You see some of the Hawaii contingent that made it up to Logan, Utah. You have some transplants who also live around the area. Rainbow Warrior basketball on the hardwood tomorrow, a Sunday affair against Weber State. And we will bring you that one on Spectrum Sports with the coverage beginning at 4:30 p.m.
Yeah, we saw Kuau Pehopa's family in the hotel, and they're from New Zealand, they're from Utah, they're from Hawaii, as most Polynesians that they're family all over the place. And there's so many Polynesians here in Utah.
That's right. Spencer Petras, 15 of 22 for 180 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick, 68% completion rate. And that will get a tinge better after that one is completed to Josh Sturzer.
16 for 23, but it seems like it's more than 68%. It seems like it's almost 80%. This guy has been so efficient.
3rd and short, and Utah State in absolutely no kind of hurry here at this juncture of the first half.
I'm going to be really interested if this is a Sunday player, because he obviously doesn't have the speed or athleticism, but he has a great pocket.
A little inside screen, and does he get enough for the first? It'll depend on the spot here. We have not seen the signal. It looks like they're going to mark it just shy, about maybe a half a yard shy of the first down marker.
Nalu Emerson, number 11 on the tackle.
Hawaii. It's their second
Hawaii
timeout
thinking they're getting the ball back here. Signals for a timeout with 1:10
Please reset the
left
game
to play.
clock
Let's
for
take another
1
look at that
15
last
seconds.
attempt on third down.
Thank you.
A little bit of a tunnel screen, which means the ex-receiver's coming back towards the formation. He's got the two other receivers on the perimeter stock block, and Hawaii doing a nice job in terms of Nalu Emerson from that inside linebacker position, running laterally and making a nice tackle.
Yeah, Nalu Emerson, one of the oldest guys on this Hawaii roster, in his 6th year with the program, born in Orem, Utah.
Another guy who's happy after watching Kahuku Red Raiders last evening, again going to the state championship for the 4th time in a row.
Yeah, and then it's St. Louis able to take down Campbell. Of course, you had Jaren Keawe Sangapolutele, who appeared to get injured midway through that game. And so, well, here we go again. Kahuku and St. Louis for the marbles in a couple of weeks.
Yep, and Cal Lee and Ron Lee, right, have to be proud of Tupu Alualu, a former player, student, coached with them for many years, has the Crusaders back in the championship.
So Utah State out of the timeout, going for it here. Bryson Barnes inserted at QB. The hard count got Hawaii moving, but they did not snap it.
They're gonna punt this ball, I would imagine.
You know, there was an announcer who would say this was a Manapua shy of a first down. And it looks like they are not going to snap it.
Timeout. Utah State.
And so they signal for the timeout.
It's their
defense.
second and a half.
We call that the
30
no-brainer.
seconds in
Do
lane.
not jump off sides. There was movement on 2 of those hard cadence and voice inflections, but Hawaii holding their water, not jumping off sides.
Yeah, you saw that jump actually did take place, and had they snapped the ball, could have very well gotten the penalty yardage for a first, but they did not.
Yeah, and that's how you train the veteran centers. If you see the jump, snap the ball, because then you're going to get the flag. But if there's contact, automatic flag.
So point total. See if they can possibly take a small bite out of this deficit going into the intermission.
In this scenario, June would go, Timmy would throw, Nate's deciding not to go.
And so Utah State looking to punt. Stephen Kotzenle, a little bit more of the boomer punter, whereas Ryan Marks brought in oftentimes to do what he did earlier in the game and try to pin teams deep. And that one hits the turf, and it will take a Utah State roll inside the 10. And so Hawaii, if they want to score a touchdown before halftime, will have 1:03 to go, 91 yards.
Yeah, and you probably see a screen, something quick. If they gain positive yardage with momentum, you'll continue to see maybe more of that Timmy Chang testament. But at the same time, this is a precarious situation, precarious field position.
48-yard punt there. Nicely done by Kotzenle.
Very good. That's a great, in terms of net punting, flipping the field, pinning Hawaii's offense.
So what can Hawaii try to muster up here? A little over a minute to go in the half. It's going to be a draw play. Sims. And he'll get out to the 13-yard line. Hawaii's still with a timeout, but they're going to have to get moving here.
Yeah, you're going to see that second level. The linebackers right deep enough. The safeties will be deep. The corners, you're not going to be able to run a double move in this situation. You can get a 10, 12-yard out. Quick strike.
That one is complete. That is Dekel Crowdis on the catch, and J.D. Drew ices him out of bounds, so that stops. Oh, no, they're going to say that, oh, they do stop the clock here at 31 seconds.
Timeout. Utah State. It's their third and final of the half. 30 seconds in length. Please reset the game clock to 36 seconds.
Interesting use of the timeout here by Utah State. Take a look at Braden Shager here. Oh.
And that's kind of a non-contact type of injury or strain.
And so that was interesting. They're putting some time back on the clock, 36 seconds. There was a little bit of confusion as to whether or not the time should have stopped. Ultimately, Utah State burning its last time out here. So 36 seconds. 24-3 Utah State. And yeah, that is not a very encouraging sign to see Braden Shager after that throw seemingly a bit gimpy.
You can see the little limp right in his gait. And then you go back to the UCLA game where he actually hurt his ankle, which affected stepping into the throw, affected the quarterback run game, and really affected the early season's non-success of the Hawaii Warriors.
Shager's toughness cannot be questioned. He has taken hit after hit all season, has continued to respond. This is a completion to Nick Senecal across the way, and he goes out of bounds. First down, Hawaii. Jaden Francois there defensively.
Hawaii receivers catching the football last week. They had a series of drops, probably lead the nation in drop balls.
So 6-yard gain there. Hawaii still a ways to go here on the field. 30 seconds with a timeout left. Shager going to step into it. He's going to heave it deep. It'll be a jump ball, and it is picked off. Jordan Vincent, his second INT of the game.
Fourth of the season, and we talked about again, he will tackle you, he will line you up in terms of being the quarterback at safety, and then he's the center fielder and goes and gets it at the highest point.
First down, Utah State.
Well, Nate Dreiling, the interim head coach for Utah State, describes Jordan Vincent as the hardest worker on the team and says his play speaks for himself. So consistent, a vocal leader for this squad, one of the team captains, and man, he has showed out here in this one.
Yeah, and you know, that's a 50-50 ball. It's also a punt if, you know, the opponent intercepts that football. But again, Hawaii's offense struggling. Braden Shager, 3 interceptions. They're not getting the running game going. Even the quick passing game has not been executed to perfection. They're not getting yards after catch. It has been a poor showing offensively, but the defense has played poorly as well.
It is Elijah Palmer with the rip.
Yeah, and you talk about a guy that understands technique, situation. He presses out. Again, only 5'9" tall. And this is a tough ball to defend in man coverage. And you see him press out, you see him body up, and then you see him rise vertically to the highest point. Really a nice job by number 9, who's really played well this first half. Maybe the best of the Hawaii defenders.
And there is the turnover spear being hoisted by Elijah Palmer. And so Hawaii, you know, we were talking with Dennis Thurman. One thing that has been missing from this defense, they have been really strong as a scoring defense, total defense, TFL totals. They haven't turned the ball over a whole lot. They're able to get a couple of picks here in this game.
And he wasn't making excuses, but they do play a lot of man coverage. You get more interceptions, obviously, in zone coverage, but he said, do your job.
Shager going to check down to Landon Sims, and he is chopped down immediately.
I can promise you, Dennis Thurman is old school. There's no excuses, and he's going to be very disappointed at halftime.
Jaden Pearson with that last defensive play for Utah State, and that takes us into the intermission. Yeah, Hawaii going to have to think about a whole lot here during this halftime period. Find a way to get the offense going. Find a way to get the defense a little bit more consistent. Right now, Utah State has had its way through 2 quarters, 24-3. The guys back in Mililani will break it down here. Welcome back to Logan, Utah. It is halftime. We're moments away from starting the 3rd quarter. Right now, Utah State up big on the Rainbow Warriors in this Mountain West matchup. 24-3. Hawaii has some catching up to do. Back here at Maverik Stadium next to Rich Miano, I'm Kanoa Leahy. And Rich, Braden Shager in that first half threw 3 interceptions. He also looked a bit gimpy at times. And so there are probably a lot of people wondering, if you are Timmy Chang, do you consider making a change at quarterback?
Yeah, and I've been Braden Shager apologist in terms of, I think he's a very good football player. But when you look at the 3 interceptions, you're not running the football. He's banged up. You need a spark. So the answer is a resounding yes.
Well, we'll see what decisions are made here going forward. But for now, let's take a look at the Pizza Hut halftime statistics. And among the numbers that we're going to take a look at here, Rich, what stands out to you?
Well, you can look at total offense, 298 for the Aggies and only 138 for the Warriors. We talked about the 3 interceptions. Actually, Hawaii has, on defense, has 2. But then look at net yards rushing, 14 yards rushing. So statistically, it's been all Aggies.
Well, Hawaii won the coin toss, deferred, and so they are due to receive here to start this third quarter. Utah State scoring 17 points in the first quarter, the most first quarter points scored this season. They have just been steady here throughout this ball game. 298 total yards of offense, as you saw, compared to 138 for Hawaii.
Dare I say, for the 1,000th time, efficient execution, diverse offense, really doing what they want to do. Tempo, slow it down, hold the chalk last, playing well on special teams, playing well on defense. And this is the worst Hawaii's defense has played all season.
Yeah, Utah State, we mentioned all of the injuries that have ravaged this team throughout the season, and yet this offense has been clicking. They do have the 2 picks thrown by Spencer Petras, but he has otherwise been pretty fantastic. The kick by Elliot Nimrod into the end zone, and so Hawaii will take over. 1st and 10 here to start this second half off the touchback.
2 interceptions, really the bright spot on defense. Both Elijah Palmer and Cam Stone doing a nice job taking the ball away.
And so it remains Braden Shager at quarterback here. Shager, you see the numbers, 11 of 17, 124 yards, 3 interceptions. We saw him grimace a couple of times in pain after throws, but he is looking to throw on 1st down. And he is being chased. He is hit and brought down as he throws that one towards the Utah State sideline. They're going to say that he was out of the pocket and that the throw got past the line of scrimmage, so no intentional grounding of any sort there. But another time where Braden Shager gets lit up here, Rich.
Yeah, and it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback and talk about making that quarterback change. But when you see limping, when you see him struggling with accuracy and decision-making, it may be time. And Timmy Chang, I'm sure, is going to continue to evaluate that in the 3rd quarter.
Sandy Utah product Lawrence Falatea there on the pressure. This is Landon Sims up the gut, and he'll get forward for 4.5.
Big hole, right? Averaging 5 yards coming into this game. That was one of the biggest holes the Hawaii offensive line has created.
Timeout for
we
an
have
injury
a Utah State player
defensive
down,
player.
and that looks like Isaiah Bruce, number 90, 6'1" junior out of the state of Illinois, transfer from Iowa Central Community College, spent 2020 at Iowa, did not play, but he is down. Again, this is a defensive line that has seen multiple players injured and out for the year. I think that's the thing that has been so difficult to comprehend for Nate Dreiling and this Utah State coaching staff. A lot of these injuries, the vast majority, are season-ending variety injuries, and so they have had to do a whole lot of shuffling. Guys who weren't playing much in the first half of the season having to now play pivotal roles here for the Aggies.
Yeah, and the defensive coordinator, Bobby McMillan, said even though they're banged up, they're injured, guys are out for the season, the 2nd guy, the 3rd guy, they've been showing great effort, great improvement, and they have not quit.
So 3rd down and 6 here for Hawaii. Shager looking downfield. He gets hit. Ball comes out. A flag is thrown. And you got a couple of Hawaii linemen in the area diving on top of that one.
Shager's not getting up from this particular injury.
Yeah, he is.
One of the guards missed his block, and then the back was aware that missed the
penalties decline. The result of the play is a fumble recovery by the Utah State.
Oh, wow. So they're calling that a fumble recovered by the Aggies, and this is disastrous, Rich, because the ball is placed at the 13-yard line in the red zone. Utah State taking over.
Shager got high and low, too. Watch the low and then the hit up top and slow to get off the field, but you're right. Huge play for this Aggie defense, who's been playing extremely well.
Of a fumble and recovery by the defense is under further review.
So they're going to take a look at this. Kean Sloan was the Aggie who recovered it. They're going to take a look here at both the fumble itself, whether or not it was an intended pass, which would result in an incompletion potentially, and also the recovery. Let's take a look. What do you think there? It looked like he tried to sort of cling on to the possession of the ball, but he did have the arm going forward initially. This is pretty close here, Rich.
It is close, but I do think that's going to be a fumble. And again, then you see the recovery, what appears to be the recovery of Braden Shager looking downfield. Obviously has some protection problems.
And how about John Miller, who was brought in from Oregon State? He is the guy, as mentioned, he's the comms guy, wears the green dot. Was a backup to start the year, has stepped up into a much larger role since the injury to Clyde Washington, one of their go-to quarterbacks. It's been a difficult role to step into. When you're the comms guy, there's a lot of responsibility on you, and John Miller has absolutely risen to the occasion, according to this Utah State coaching staff.
Yeah, Nate Dreiling, he calls the plays, right? But then it's Coach McMillan who actually talks to that mic control linebacker until it shuts off within 15 seconds. But a lot of communication. He has to absorb that, get that out to the front, the secondary, and make sure that Utah State is in the proper defense.
You also see here during this delay, John Kiawe Sangapolutele and Micah Alejado each throwing the football there just in front of the Hawaii sideline, because that's the other concern here. I mean, we can talk until we're blue in the face about whether or not it is a better strategic move for Timmy Chang to make a change at quarterback. But you see Braden Shager slow to get up once again, and you start to think, all right, you don't want to put him in danger for any kind of long-term type of injury, especially for a guy who they are trying to submit to the NCAA a waiver to see if he has another year of eligibility. If not, a guy who is going to have some next level aspirations. Those are some of the things you also have to think about, right?
There's no question. And then it comes again back to protection, right? So if you don't protect, you're going to have problems no matter who's the quarterback.
After further review, the quarterback's hand was going forward. The ruling is an incomplete pass.
Big break.
The holding by number 30 will be declined. The result is now a 4th down.
Okay, well, that is a certain BB dodged by this Rainbow Warriors squad. They at least get a chance now to try to flip the field. But you be the judge, Rich. You agree with this reversal that was an incomplete pass?
Yeah, and it was so close that I really didn't want to be definitive one way or the other, but I do agree, and I think the officials thus far have called a really solid football game.
And they determined that it was definitive enough to overturn the call on the field.
Gotta like that.
And so Lucas Boro standing on the 15, getting ready to punt it away. And this is Kahanu Davis on the return. And he gets to the 45. Nifty little return there, Kahanu Davis.
Yeah, and you got to give him credit again because he understands to catch the ball before it rolls, so he saves tremendous yardage. There's not enough hang time, so he has a little bit of ability to get the ball, make some people miss it. As Dick Tomey used to say, pick up 10 yards, pick up a first down. Help us with our field position offensively.
So there's a look at Braden Shager. Timmy Chang having a word with him, and yeah, he's looking like a guy who has been through some stuff here so far this afternoon.
That was a violent high-low type of hit, and we know how tough he is, but I agree. I think it's past time. They take him out of the football game and let the other guys see what they can do.
Rasul Faison on the carry, got a couple of yards there on first down. Utah State right back to it. Fake handoff. Petrus throws, has a man. It is overthrown. Was looking for Kyrese White.
White had a couple of steps on number 9. And we know number 9's a good nickel cornerback, but a nice job of not only vertically separating, but using that sidelines, but just slightly overthrown. He'd like to have that one back.
And now we have a player down for Hawaii, and that is number 4, Cam Stone.
For an injury on the defensive player.
So they're going to take a look at this. We already saw Peter Manuma, as you see now Shager Looks like he is making his way back to the locker room area. Peter Manuma, who left the game very early on in the first half, we were told by a UA spokesman that it was a foot and he is questionable to return. Now Braden Shager holding his head as he makes his way to the locker room. And here is Cam Stone, who by the measurements of Pro Football Focus is one of the top cornerbacks in the country. And take a look, near side, bottom of your screen right there, just takes a collision. Rolled up a little bit awkwardly, and now he is visibly limping as he makes his way to the Hawaii sideline. And so this is a scenario that in a very short period of time here after the start of this third quarter, Rich, has gone from very bad to much worse.
Right, and the concern is Shager's holding his head. I don't know if it's a laceration, I'm just speculating, but whatever that is, potentially a head type of injury, and then you see your best, most consistent defender, kind of a lockdown corner, go out of the football game. So you're right, Hawaii's had its share of injuries this game.
So a third down, 3rd and 8. Maybe 8.5, we'll say here for Utah State. Petrus to the near side. The receiver fell down. Grant Page was wide open, and the throw was in the area.
Yeah, still hit him in his hands, even though he threw down. That's the kind of accuracy. He's throwing darts.
Alas, a 4th down here for the Aggies. And so they will punt it away. Stephen Kotzenle on to punt it. Tylen Hines is deep. His offense coming back onto the field. Who is going to be the quarterback is now the question. The answer when we return. At quarterback for the Rainbow Warriors had an absolutely legendary prep career at Bishop Gorman in Vegas, where he was a Max Preps National Junior Player of the Year in 2022. For his career, threw for over 9,000 yards, 125 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. And he is now taking part in his 2nd game this season.
Those type of touchdown interception ratio, you would think was a typo.
And it is a handoff. And Hawaii won't get much via David. Oh, make that Christian Vaughn. Vaughn, Las Vegas, Nevada, his hometown. Transfer from Butte College, 5'10", 225-pound junior.
And I think you're going to see that read zone, that little mesh, right? Because Micah has that quickness. You'll also see him get out of the pocket.
And he's going to throw now. And it is a completion. Albeit a fairly short one, still gets about 3, maybe 4 yards, complete to Nick Senecal. And so Micah Alejado now 2 for 2 for his Rainbow Warrior passing career.
1,000% quick release.
Stands at 5'10". A lefty freshman. Takes the high snap, now throws to the near side, and it is caught after the bobble. And we'll see where they give forward progress here to Nick Senecal. It looks like it's going to be about a half yard, maybe a yard shy of the line to gain. Thoughts on the first couple of throws we've seen from Micah Alejado?
I'm more interested in going for it on 4th down with this field position, but Micah's gotten rid of the football. I think schematically that's what you need to do with the quarterback who's just coming off the bench.
And they are going for it.
Look for a little zone read action or a quick throw.
4th and 1. Alejado to throw. He's running to the far side. Throws on the run. Gets the first down on the completion. It is caught once again by Nick Senecal. And so a clutch 4th down conversion for the True Frosh.
And that's why he is a dual threat, right? He's going to his left, and then he decides to throw it, the southpaw, but he has the option to run, and he has the quickness to get on the perimeter. I think you'll see a change of game plan, and you'll see, again, short passing.
And now we have another quarterback out there. This is John Keabe Sangapolutele, and his first pass is a completion for a first down to Spencer Curtis along the far sideline.
Sangapolutele, more of a drop back guy, but did a nice job of understanding the holes in cover 2. That was a zone shot. Really a nice throw. Good job by the receiver getting 1 foot in, Spencer Curtis.
Sangapolutele, a redshirt freshman out of Punahou. And Eva Beach, of course, the older brother of Jaren Keave Sangapolutele, one of the more sought-after prep quarterbacks in the country on the recruiting front. It's a give to Landon Sims. Doesn't get much. Thoughts on Timmy Chang deciding to do the rotation at QB?
Well, it's hard, right? But I think they have different strengths. Biker being more quick, Sangapolutele being more of a drop-back passer with some mobility. But both of these guys deserve a chance to see who can succeed Braden Shager.
2nd and 10. Sangapolutele going to throw it down the sideline, but it's overthrown. He was looking in the direction of Spencer Curtis. Sangapolutele had a pretty amazing prep career as well. Was the 2022 ILH Open Division Player of the Year. Over 2,300 yards passing, 25 TDs to 7 interceptions.
And his brother becoming the most prolific quarterback in prep history, including Timmy Chang, Marcus Mariota, Dylan Galore.
3rd and 10. Sangapolutele in trouble, and he goes down. It'll be a loss on the play. Bronson Oleval Jr. was the one to step up.
You're going to see pressure inside. You're going to see guys just staying with the play longer than the opponent and eventually winning those one-on-one situations. Tremendous pressure. We've seen that pretty much all season.
And so Hawaii going with a couple of the backup quarterbacks. Sangapolutele, Alejado, it's debatable as to who's the QB2, who's the QB3. They were both in there on that possession, but it results in now what will be a punt attempt for Hawaii.
And I think there's varying opinions of the coaching staff. Dan Morrison has, again, liked Sangapolutele. I think Timmy Chang understands.
Delay game. Number 19 on the kicking team. 5 yards, still 4th down.
Yeah, we've seen that a couple of times now by the punting unit.
Yeah, and we've seen them come out of timeouts with delay games. We've seen movement amongst the offensive line. We've seen a continuation of penalties, the administrative kind, and those will get you beat. Hawaii, no team in college football plays well behind the chains.
Is it difficult from a rhythm standpoint?
Oh, good point.
To change quarterbacks mid-possession, especially when Alejado had completed 3 passes?
There's a lot of truth to be told.
This is Kahanu Davis to receive this punt, and now he'll forge a return and has some space. Davis across the 50. Finally brought down inside the 40-yard line.
Kapa'a Kauai is in the house. They're excited on the Garden Island because this young punt returner knows how to field balls and knows how to make something happen.
Yeah, the KIF Player of the Year, first-team All-Stater at Kapa'a, looming large. Welcome back. 24-3 Utah State on top of Hawaii. 9:46 left to play in the 3rd quarter. Let's take a look now at our Hyundai head-to-head stat line. And we are looking at some defensive numbers for Hawaii. A sack, 2 interceptions. Utah State 4 sacks and 3 picks. Braden Shager throwing the 3 interceptions. He has left the game with what we are being told is a knee injury. The degree of which we are not told, but he is likely out for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I would imagine that, right? And you don't wish injuries upon anybody, but at least we were told it's not to the head area.
Meanwhile, Utah State, after the fine return on the punt by Kahanu Davis, excellent field position here for Spencer Petras and company. And this is going to be a big run. Rasul Faison is gone. 37 yards to the house.
Faison, watch the patience. Watch him let it develop. You change the math by the H coming across in that split zone, and there was no holes apparently to the right side. So what does he do? He cuts it back patiently to his left, and then you see the explosive ability.
We have a late penalty flag that was just thrown here as the Aggies were gearing up for the point after. For Faison, that is his 7th rushing touchdown of the season. He is now at 131 yards for the game. That puts him at 931 for the year. So he is closing in on a 1,000-yard rushing campaign.
With 9 minutes and 38 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. You're talking potentially 200 yards rushing.
And this thing has officially been blown open.
The result of the play is a touchdown. After the play, we have unsportsmanlike on Utah State's bench. The penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
Yeah, there have been a couple of mentions of just sideline type of reminders here throughout this game, and apparently Utah State doing something to deem worthy of that penalty, but it'll be Tanner Cragen to kick the extra point.
It's indefensible, but researching the Utah State team, this, I think, all three phases, complementary football is the best game they've played all season long, and with all the injuries, it's impressive.
I think one of the questions you have watching this one play out is how the heck is Utah State only a 2-win team coming into this one? Rasul Faison doing the deed. Welcome back. So we have seen now a couple of reserve quarterbacks see action for Hawaii in this second half. Braden Shager has once again left the game with what we are being told is a knee injury. He is out for the remainder of this one. And so we saw Micah Alejado start the first possession of this third quarter for Hawaii. He went 3 for 3 and then was replaced by John Keawe Sangopolu-Tele, who came in and completed 1 of 2 pass attempts. And so it'll be interesting to see how Timmy Chang maneuvers going forward when it comes to that quarterback rotation. Does he continue to do that? Or does he perhaps maybe trade off possession per possession with these guys? That might benefit them a little bit more from a rhythm standpoint. As Tylen Hines trying to forge a return, and he gets lit up. We have a penalty flag. In fact, we have 3 penalty flags on the field. Bronson Olivao laying the wood on special teams.
Kickoff coverage, right? You run down there, you avoid the block, you find the ball, and then you punish the kickoff return guy. That's technique perfect.
31-3, Utah State, 337 total yards of offense. Hawaii with 167 by comparison. Let's listen into the penalties.
During the return, holding number 18 on the return team, 10 yards from the end of the run, first down.
So Hawaii will be backed up a little bit. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 21.
Adrenaline carries over to special teams, kickoff coverage, everything Utah State's doing, they're doing with confidence, and they're doing their technique, doing their 1/11.
So it is Micah Alejado once again in behind center. 3 for 3 here in this outing, and he's going to look to run with a nice little deke move there. And then spun down after a gain of 6. Cole Joyce, the linebacker, number 20, stepping in to make the defensive play. But a little bit of swift feet there from Alejado.
Quarters coverage, goes through his progression, not much, but you see quickness, you see twitch. A little bit reminds me of Chevin Cordero in terms of the ability to make people miss.
Yeah, also a guy who wasn't the biggest body at the quarterback position. A little taller, certainly, than Alejado, who fires to the near side, a strike to Dekel Crowdis, and that'll be a Hawaii first down. So Micah Alejado now 4 for 4 passing since entering into this game.
Yeah, and the most impressive thing about that particular throw is how it spun, how it came out of his hands. Looked a little bit like Noah Fafita, who can really spin the ball, who's somewhat diminutive.
Originally from Eva Beach, moved to the continent to go on to that incredible career at Bishop Gorman. This is Cam Barfield. Nice move by Barfield, and he gets a first down and is able to take this Hawaii offense into Utah State territory.
Yeah, and I think you could see more of a Cam Barfield, of Vaughn, in terms of what the offense is going to do with the mesh, read zone, RPOs, quick games, so you don't have to rely on those guys being great in protection.
Alejado. 1st and 10. He's going to run to the near side. And he's just going to take what he can get there. Pushed out of bounds after a gain of a couple. Cole Joyce was the one in pursuit.
I'm liking what I see in terms of go through your progression. You don't see anything, right? And then find where the weakness of the defense is. If they're not containing in terms of upfield pass rush, take it around the edge.
And they have once again changed quarterbacks, Rich. They bring John Keave Sangopolutele in to continue this drive. 2nd and 8. The throw picked off. Had a man open. J.D. Drew, the defender in the area, who gets his first interception of the season.
But the 4th for the Aggies defense this game. And when you have 4 interceptions, unless you're the Detroit Lions, you're not going to win the football game.
First down, Utah State.
Jared Goff's not showing up anytime soon.
He's not walking through that door. Yeah, Tamatoa Mokiao Atimalala was the intended receiver. He had him. And 1st and 10 for the Aggies. Petrus hit as he throws. It's incomplete. Oh, Malachi Finau let him know about it, but a penalty flag comes out.
Pass interference.
So you look at that strategy by Timmy Chang, Rich. It doesn't seem to be beneficial for either Michael Alejado or John Keave Sangopolutele, considering the fact that it makes it much more difficult for either of them to get that
Pass
rhythm.
interference. Number 13 on the defense. Ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
What do you think about it?
No, I think that's the word, rhythm. You have to let your quarterback get into a rhythm. And we're not second-guessing Timmy Chang, but at the same time, we talked about cadence, the offensive line, understanding the cadence. They're all different when you bring a new quarterback in. So, interesting, Timmy Chang's approach.
There will certainly be questions asked about that and whether or not that is the wisest way to go about this with Braden Shager out for the rest of the game.
Let him play.
Michael Alejado, to his credit, 4 for 4 and has shown the ability to move out of that pocket.
A couple nice scrambles.
Saw a good throw as well from John Keave Sangopolutele, but he did throw that last pick. Minimal gain there for Rasul Faison. Temperature still in the mid to high 30s here in Logan, Utah. Petrus, all kinds of time. That has been a theme across the middle. It's Josh Sturzer.
You mentioned whenever it's zone coverage, it's middle area attack. And what I mean by that is watch the linebackers as they do not get enough depth on the crossing routes. There's somebody coming behind them. They're high-lowing the inside linebackers.
Meanwhile, the quick to the line snap for Utah State, and then the throw that ended up being up for grabs. Otto Tia almost came down with that thing.
Yeah, he got to the highest point, well over a 30-inch vertical jump, and he also has that length and that catching radius.
Remember, the Aggies without their top receiver, one of the best receivers in the country, frankly, Jalen Royals, who played just 7 games this year, 834 yards for a guy who was a first-team All-Mountain West selection a season ago.
Yeah, and the NFL scouts were loving him up. And
Offsides on the defense. 5 yards from the previous spot. Still first down.
So that puts things in a much better position here for Utah State. Yeah, it's interesting to see some of the interest that perhaps has gleaned off of Royals to Spencer Petrus, right? A lot of the scouts, a lot of the interested pro representatives watching Royals, and Petrus has been impressive, as has this guy. Rasul Faison, touchdown run number 2, 37 yards. Break them off.
So impressive. And again, patience is a good word, balance, vision. And give the offensive line, as you did earlier, much credit. They get that double team, they get that push, they get to the second level. You got receivers blocking downfield because you know you have an opportunity to break a big one when you have such a prolific, talented running back.
He has been excellent here in this game. Faison, 15 rushes for 169 yards and 2 tutties. Cragen with the point after. It is good. He is still perfect in that category this season. And this has turned ugly. 38-3 with 6:16 left to play in this third quarter.
What a lateral move in terms of quickness, explosiveness. Kind of reminds me, anybody that follows prep football, a larger Titan Lackaden from the St. Louis Crusaders who just tore it up last evening.
Now, the margin between these two teams on the scoreboard has widened here, but for a while there, you were kind of thinking, hey, look, there have been some pretty extraordinary comebacks in this series. You go back to the 2011 meeting, and that is considered widely by the Aggies football program as a turning point in the history, or at least the recent history of this program. The Aggies were 2-5 going into that game against Hawaii. They trailed 28-7 at halftime. They would rally in the second half to win 35-31. That was a game that was played in Honolulu. Robert Turbin had the game-winning 1-yard touchdown plunge with 14 seconds left. Again, they were 2-5 going into that game. Hadn't been to a bowl since '97. Game taking place in 2011. They won 5 straight to end the season. They finished 7-5, qualified for a bowl game. That would ignite a run of 5 straight bowl appearances. Gary Anderson was the head coach at the time. And they have not really looked back. This has been an excellent football program from that time on.
And that wasn't even with their star quarterback, Chucky Keaton. That was the backup quarterback who came in and rallied the team down so significantly at the half. And then look at this program. That's when you saw facilities being built. That's when you saw the likes of the great future Hall of Famer Bobby Wagner. We talked about Jordan Love. This program has had some prolific players, and they're moving to the next level.
So Hawaii's offense back out onto the field. It is once again Micah Alejado to start this drive. 38-3 is the score. And the throw is complete. And Alejado is still perfect here to start. That is a catch by Tama Uiliada. He is the 5'11 freshman from Waipahu High School.
Yeah, and he can do it, right? He played the slot. He was a return guy, very prolific in his high school career at Waipahu, and now he's playing that slot position. Nice to see him out there.
Yeah, gray-shirted last year, 2022 grad of Waipahu. Played quarterback, running back, and wide receiver for the Marauders. Here's Alejado using his feet. Slides. We'll get a gain of 3. It'll be 2 yards shy of the first down marker, but you see some poise, I think, here from this true freshman.
You do, and I think what's even more impressive, poise is extremely important for a quarterback, but it's also that little twitch, that quickness, and then we saw him spin the ball and make a deep out type of throw, so he has enough arm strength to be successful.
3rd and a long 2. Alejado, the throw, it is complete. The hit is made right at the first down marker, but they're going to say that Tamatoa Mokiao Atimalala got across the line to gain, and so that will move the chains, and Micah Alejado still has not misfired.
No, he hasn't, and that, again, was right on the chin. A catchable ball. Great concept. He's understanding this run and shoot, and he's reading the defense and taking what they give him.
He is 6 for 6 for 34 yards. Looking to throw again. And he is wrapped up and he is brought down. That was Gabriel Iniguez, the transfer from New Mexico State, who comes up and makes the play.
Yeah, he's the one that gets it started up front. And we've talked a lot about the big plays, the 4 interceptions, but it starts right there at the defensive tackle position. And again, that unit's playing well. We've got backup linebackers and a plethora of linebackers playing well. And then the secondary, obviously, with the lockdown coverage.
It's going to be a draw play. This is Sims, and he is upended. He'll get a yard on that at most, and that's going to bring up 3rd here for Hawaii. Kean Sloan once again omnipresent up front for this Utah State defense.
Yeah, you talk about those guys because they're relentless, right? They never stop. It's just the motor that you expect all defensive linemen to have, but they don't all have that. And he's just wants to get to the quarterback, and he wants to do his job. Really a good football player.
Throwing down here, Alejandro. Going to throw to the near side, and that one is his first incompletion. He was looking in the direction of Alex Perry, and the Utah State defense holds with 3:36 left to play in the third.
Yeah, great job. They got that flat defender with some width and depth, and Micah really didn't have that window. And it's one of those deals where you're looking to the weak side, the X receiver. You don't have a lot of options.
And so Hawaii will have to punt. Lucas Burrow punting for the 6th time in this game. It's a good one. And the fair catch is signaled for. And the catch is made there by Kahanu Davis.
Yeah, he kind of caught that like a receiver, right? You usually catch that in your chest, and he caught that with his hands, and he has some good hands.
45-yard punt. But yeah, Kahanu Davis has been really solid in his role as kick and punt returner.
Yeah, we haven't seen him much or at all in the slot, but I'm telling you, the amount of yards he has saved, the big explosive return.
There's no foul for holding on the play.
Mike Tressler, when you talk about one of the best prep coaches in Hawaii, it's the Kapa'a Warriors. It's Mike Tressler, the former Rainbow Warrior.
Yeah, Kahanu Davis in his second year with Utah State. Spent 2 years at Southwestern College in California. And now Spencer Petras and company back on the field here for the Aggies.
So much time left in this football game. Timmy Chang's idea of shortening this game did not go his way when you fall behind so early.
Yeah, if anything, it's feeling like the longest game they've played this season. And this is going to be Faison again. Almost busted that one.
Faison is in phase. And when you think about, again, Austin Genty, obviously up for a Heisman Trophy. But here's a Mountain West Conference running back that I would imagine gets a look to play on Sundays.
Yeah, third in the Mountain West in rushing yards. Behind, of course, Genty and Marquez Cooper of San Diego State.
Wow, you talk about play action. The quarterback kind of just stood there. The running back kind of just stood there. They held the mesh. They allowed the tight end to get behind the second level. That is, again, not trickeration, but well-designed.
Yeah, just keeping the defense off balance. 21 yards there on the connection to Sturzer. Here's Faison again.
He will make you miss. I mean, even a 2-yard run is exciting.
I mean, just always positive yardage, it seems, with this guy.
And I'm not sure we've given this offensive line enough credit because Hawaii's run defense, for the most part, has been so solid, but it starts up front.
And this is Faison. How about that redirection?
Yeah.
Was cut off at the pass and was still able to get positive yardage.
Logan Taylor shoots the gap, right? Cuts it off. But when you have that ability to put that left foot in the ground and change directions, watch that right there. Oh, it's artwork. It's just pretty to watch.
Under 2 minutes to play here in the third quarter. Petras looking to throw. He's going to go down the sideline. Has a man in his caught. Jack Histera. The stretch bench. And another red zone visit here for the Aggies.
He ran right by Devin King, and it's one of those routes where it's kind of like a wheel route, but at the same time, look at the separation, but more importantly, look at the catch. He's completely horizontal.
32 yards there on that connection.
I mean, the discrepancy in total offense is off the charts.
And this is going to be a keeper by Petras, and he's able to trudge his way inside the 5. That was the last thing anybody in the stadium was expecting. We have a penalty flag.
Quarterback naked bootleg, kind of trickeration, really a well-designed play.
You know, they're pulling out some of the calls from a little bit deeper in the playbook.
Personal foul, number 17 on the defense. It'll be half the distance from the end of the run. Automatic automatic first down.
Oh, and there it is. It's Malachi Finau. Petrus was well out of bounds. Essentially, the late hit, unnecessary. And so first and goal here for the Aggies.
Adding insult to injury, right? Hawaii, a heavy penalized team all season.
And here is Bryson Barnes from Milford High School in Utah. He's going to look to throw. Going to come back against the grain. It is caught. Touchdown. Josh Sturzer. His second touchdown reception.
I think there was a hold on that play. They didn't pick it up on Mendiola Jensen, but at the same time, good design. Everybody in blue goes to the right. Watch the tight end slip out, break the tackle, find the end zone.
It is 44-3, pending the extra point. We are still in the third quarter
of the longest game we have broadcasted this year.
Tanner Cragen. And it is, once again, cash money. 45-3. 57 seconds left to play here in this third quarter.
They call that circus elephants, when the linemen all turn one way and go lateral, and then somebody sneaks out. There's another name for it, but I can't say it on television, but it starts with O, and then the defense has no clue.
OMG, maybe we'll just go with there. We have Bryson Barnes, by the way, 2 for 2, both passes, touchdown passes. And yeah, a lot of push-ups here on this particular afternoon in Logan. And now you start to think, I mean, we still have a quarter of football remaining, but as a Hawaii fan, you're starting to think about the ramifications of this. This was something that they could not have afforded to endure and experience if you're talking about the University of Hawaii. They had some very slim potential bowl hopes had they won the last 2 games of the regular season. And hey, look, there's still a lot of football here, but you're talking about a miracle of biblical proportions if they're able to come back in this one. But even if they are to make a more respectable showing here, say, if they lose this game, even if they are able to win against New Mexico in the season finale at home in a couple of weeks, they will not finish 500. They will be 5-7, and with the 2 FCS wins on the ledger, they would only be able to count 4 of those wins towards bowl eligibility.
You're right. If they win the last 2 games, there are positive mathematical implications. But don't even think about that now. Think about potentially finishing strong next week on senior night, because this has been a bad performance.
And Michael Alejado goes down. He is sacked. Bronson Olivao, it has become a get-back night here for Utah State.
Yeah, and a little bit of a jailbreak, right? There's guys that are just unblocked, and I'm not sure that's communication in terms of Ethan Spencer calling the squeeze down in terms of anticipating guys coming through the A gap. Then it's the pressure on the outside, and that's usually the back end protection. But 5-man protection, make no mistake about it, there's nothing harder than that in football.
And that's the 6th sack of the game for this Aggies defense. Second and lengthy, Alejado. Going to try to move out of the pocket, but he can go nowhere. There's just too much resistance. Seni Tuiaki, the D tackle from Salt Lake City, who came out of medical retirement mid-season. This was a guy who had experienced so many injuries that he had basically decided to call it a career, but because of the injuries on the roster elsewhere, he said, you know what, if you need me, I'm available. And look what he just did.
Great story.
7 sacks for Utah State, 4th quarter coming up. Welcome back. Time now for the Hawaii Honda Dealers highlight reel. A lot of highlights put in on the Utah State side, but we're going to focus on the defense and the 4 interceptions that they've been able to record. 3 against Hawaii starting quarterback Braden Shager, and 1 against backup John Keave Sangopolutele.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of reasons why interceptions happen. It usually does start with the quarterback. Sometimes it's protection, sometimes it's the receiver, but it's been pretty much everybody. And when you talk 4-2 in terms of turnover ratio, you don't win a lot of football games. But more importantly, 469 total yards of offense to 198. That's utter domination.
Alejado going to swing it out here. And this is Tylan Hines. Nice move. Stays on his feet for a few extra moments.
Yeah, we haven't called his name other than fair catching kickoffs, fair catching punts. He has not had that pitch count where you get the ball into one of your most explosive players' hands.
And week to week, that has always been one of the primary objectives offensively, is get the ball in the hands of number 2. But yeah, Utah State defensively perhaps has just made that a little bit more of a difficult task.
What happened to prolific Perfeli? I mean, he has again kind of disappeared in this game.
Perfeli Ashlock, 2 catches, 12 yards. Kahanu Davis back to receive this Lucas Boro punt. He will let it hit the turf, and it will redirect out of bounds. So a little over 14 minutes left. 45-3 is the score. And so, yeah, there will be a lot of conversation. Obviously, the talk about potential bowl eligibility, and that would have been a bit of a backdoor into the Hawaii Bowl perhaps anyway. But now you start to talk perhaps even more big picture. How important does that showing in a couple of weeks against New Mexico become with regard to the overall evaluation of this program?
It will be interesting, and right, Craig Angeles is in the house. He's in the visiting athletic director's box, and you got to start thinking about extension or non-extension. You want to make sure that the football program has some continuity, but at the same time, and make sure it's headed in the right direction.
We'll see Faison getting his hands on the rock.
And this is only one game, right? And the thing about it is, you are facing a team that I feel has played their best game, and you have played your worst game. So sometimes these things can get out of hand.
Sure. The timing, though, of having a game like this, of a performance like this, I think that's what's going to add some angst to the disappointment of this Hawaii fan base.
No question. And when you're June Jones and you have some history of winning and then you lose 69-7 and there's been some blowout losses, obviously it's a one-off, it's an anomaly. But this is something where you're trying to get to the next level.
On the tackle, number 29.
Yeah, trying to preserve some positivity here for this season. It has not transpired in a positive degree here in Logan, Utah.
And especially after last year, 3 out of the last 4 games were resounding victories where they played well on offense. The theme offensively is all year long, this offense has struggled.
Meanwhile, Petrus going down, and the sack recorded by Nalu Emerson.
And we haven't talked about many sacks today. We've had some tackles for losses. But again, Hawaii's defense came into this game with 25 sacks, and they haven't had that pressure.
That sack right there, just the second of the day for Hawaii. Malachi Finau has the other.
And there are other games defensively with this 10 tackles for losses. That's not the case today.
And so Kotzenle will punt, and Tamo Uiliata is back to receive. He'll let it hit the turf. Looked like it may have hit one of the Utah State up men. We'll see where they ultimately spot this. But we'll take a break here in Logan, Utah. It has been lopsided. All Aggies 45-3 here in the 4th. Welcome back. There you see in the hoodie, that is Braden Shager. He is out for the remainder of this game due to what we are told is a knee injury. And here's a look at some of how that transpired, taking that last hit there. He was slow to get up. But there were a couple of instances even prior to that where there were non-contact plays. He threw the ball and seemed to be grimacing in pain and favoring that leg. And so he made his way back to the locker room, and he is done for the day. And now it becomes a question of what his availability may be for the season finale against New Mexico. The good news is Hawaii does have the bye week, and so a little extra time perhaps for Braden Shager to work his way back. John Keawe Sangopolutele is now in at quarterback for the Rainbows.
Again, they come out off the sidelines and the running back moves, and it's a procedure penalty.
False start. Number 9 on the offense. 5 yards. Still first down.
4 or 5 times this game, safe to say?
Yeah, I mean, when it rains, it pours, right? Mama said there'd be days like this, and it's just unfortunate for Hawaii. I think, again, you go back to the timing for it to happen here when it seems as though this is a team that has been playing better overall football in recent weeks. And I think that's what makes this so surprising, Rich. And that is a completion. This is Tama Uiliata. Jaden Francois there defensively. And that's a gain of 8. So a good-looking throw there, Sangopolu Tele. This is, we have Uiliata down on the field, and he is grabbing at that right shoulder.
Offensive player.
And so, guys dropping like flies really on both sides here, but Hawaii has been hit particularly hard this afternoon. Take a look at the way he hits the field, and he has several bodies on him. That's a lot of force there on that right shoulder.
Pile driven into the ground, all of that force. You have 2 or 3 blue jerseys just really making a vicious and aggressive tackle.
They're going to tend to Tama Uiliata. We'll take a break. Welcome back. So Tama Uiliata is the latest Rainbow Warrior who have to be tended to by the medical staff. Looks like a right shoulder issue that they are working on.
Uiliata is a guy that Rob DeMello has really kind of honed in on in terms of emerging big-time slot player for this Rainbow Warriors team. He's very young, has many years to continue to play.
Yeah, multi-talented type of guy. So you hope that whatever he's experiencing isn't something that is long-lasting. Second down here coming up for Hawaii. And John Keave Sangopolu Tele continues at QB. It's going to be a draw play. This is Barfield, and he gets laid up. Man, some quick reactions by these linebackers. This is Jaden Pearson.
That was Bobby Wagner-like in terms of seeing the offensive line, reading through, and then reacting. And you talk about inside-out tackling for a linebacker with quickness. Textbook.
A dominant performance on both sides of the ball here for Utah State.
All 3 phases, even special teams have been dominant.
3rd and 5. Sangopolu Tele going to throw to the near side. It is intercepted. That is the 5th INT for this Aggies defense. Noah Flores doing the honors this time.
Outside vertical stretch, so the flat defender understands the high-low, sinks back, and goes up and get it. What an incredible scheme. You're going to see the flat defender sink back, turn and open his hips up, and then you have the defender behind him versus the outside vertical stretch, which is a flat route, a corner route, and a go route. Really well executed defensively. That would make Nick Saban proud.
So Bryson Barnes out here to start this drive for Utah State after the quick change. And they're going to keep the ball on the ground. This is Derek Jamison, 6-foot sophomore on the carry. Wyndon Ho'ohuli making the tackle.
Nice to call his name again. We haven't called it in a while. He had some really good football games, but has battled injuries.
Yeah, talking about Ho'ohuli. Meanwhile, Derek Jamison on his first career carry last week against Washington State, he busted one out for 72 yards and a touchdown.
Call. Highlight. How about that?
Not too
Averaging
bad.
72 yards a carry.
Here he is again. So that'll bring up 3rd down and about 6.
Who is the running back coach? Because if you have that type of talent in your room, somebody's recruiting them, but you're coaching them up.
And remember, that unit also was not resistant to injury. You had Robert Briggs Jr. who went down earlier in the year, and he and Rasul Faison were basically a 1A and 1B type of running back combo.
Yeah, Jimmy Bale, and he wasn't here when they had Robert Turbin, who was an NFL type of running back.
Oh, and this is an open seam for Jamison. Levies the shoulder pads. We have a penalty flag out on the field. Jaheim Wilson-Jones and Matangi Thompson there defensively for Hawaii. Let's listen in.
Holding number 57 on the offense. 10 yards from the previous spot. Still 3rd down.
We get a chance to see the running back coach react to. Oh, he wants all of his guys to have success, and that's coming back, but I love the enthusiasm.
Saw the remaining schedule for Hawaii at the bye week, and then New Mexico. For Utah State, they're at Colorado State next week. Or, excuse me, San Diego State next week. They will host, and then at Colorado State the following week to close the regular season. And this is Barnes getting positive yardage. That's going to bring up 4th down, though. They're still going to be a little bit shy.
Good tackle by Nalu Emerson. But talking about Hawaii's last game, right? Not only senior night, but also they're going to honor the Kafensis family. And there's about, I don't know, 12 to 15 of those guys that have played football for the Rainbow Warriors over the last 3 decades.
And there's the remaining schedule for Utah State. San Diego State at home, and then at Colorado State. How about the season Colorado State continues to have?
Yeah, Jay Norvell doing a great job over there. And there's 2 teams playing football in Colorado because Dion won again today.
Colorado State, the beneficiary of not the toughest lineup of foes in the Mountain West this year, as it turned out. But they are undefeated, and going down is Barnes, but we have penalty flags all over the creation.
It's safe to say you don't see 1 flag thrown. We've seen 2, 3, 4 flags. It's been a lot of good officiating. Bad play in terms of discipline.
And here's a little bit of extra stuff at the end of this play. That's Kahanu Davis and Deleon Freeman going back and forth.
Local boy likes scrap.
Didn't look like anything too outlandish.
Yeah, he had his hands inside, which you'll get away with, right? But he just kept with the play longer than the opponent.
Long discussion here.
Personal foul, blindside block, number 6 on the defense. It'll be 15 yards from the previous spot, automatic 1st down.
Blindside block on the defense. You don't hear that called very much.
And Justin Sinclair called for that one. Looked like he may have laid out Kyrese White in the midst of all of that action.
Didn't get a chance to see it, but when you look at the tackle charge, Justin Sinclair, and some of it's on special teams, probably the best Rainbow Warrior on special teams, but he's up there because he's quietly effective.
And here is the handoff. It's Jamison, and he blows by everybody. 21-yard touchdown run. And Utah State has put up 50 on the Rainbow Warriors.
Nobody even grabbed his flag. You see a huge hole. You see defensive backs, linebackers overrunning the football. Not sure what dance that was, but it wasn't the YMCA.
This is Cragen. And that makes it 52-3. Let's take a look at the block here. See if we can pick this up. And right there, yeah, you see the hit, middle of your screen. It was Sinclair into Kyrese White, number 23. And yeah, Kyrese White, that was blindsided for sure.
Yeah, no, good call. And again, you don't hear that called very often because players usually don't do that. But that is a guy that was not aware of that, and they're trying to eliminate the violence, the unnecessary violence.
Yeah, right there at the 25-yard line.
There's one thing about jamming receivers as they run routes, but that's a vicious hit on a receiver who's not protected.
And those flags came out instantly after that collision. So 8:35 left to play. This has become now among the most lopsided scores in the negative for Timmy Chang in his tenure as head coach. Hawaii lost 63-10 against Vanderbilt back in 2022. So that was a 53-point differential as we take a look at the Mountain West football standings. Yep, Colorado State still unbeaten, 5-0. Boise State 8-1 overall, and they're still hanging on to college football playoff selection hopes. What has surprised you maybe the most about how you see the standings at this juncture of the season,
Well,
Rich?
San Jose State, right? They played Boise. Not sure of the outcome. Not sure that's even been finalized. But they've been pretty impressive for a team that does not have a lot of talent. And I like to give credit to Kenny Niumataolo and Craig Stutzman, two of the guys that are responsible for that least offensive success.
Yeah, Boise and San Jose will kick off in about an hour from now.
Number 12 on the offense, 5 yards, still first down.
But I'm with you. I had no idea. I knew Colorado State was playing well, but to be undefeated in conference play, that's a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah, they took down Wyoming last night, 24-10 in Fort Collins. And this is going to be a keeper here by Alejado. And he gets back to the original line of scrimmage. That'll bring up second down. Mason Edwards there defensively for the Aggies. And so this has turned into a de facto sort of open audition for the two backup quarterbacks, Micah Alejado and John Kiave Sangopolutele.
You normally don't slip on any type of Polynesian names.
These are the two guys who are now going to represent potentially the future for this program. And Timmy Chang, at the very least, if you are to try to present a positive lining to things, at the very least he gets to get a legitimate look at how these guys play for an extended period for the first time really this season.
Yeah, and there'll be people, right, in the highest of levels will tell you the second most important player in your team is your backup quarterback if you have to use him. Well, guess what? This experience will help both of these young men. It will help the coaches evaluate who is the true number 2 guy and potentially could start next week because we don't know the extent of Braden Shager's injuries.
Blaise Kamoku on that last catch, by the way. And this one is hauled in by Carson Pupunu.
That was a heck of a pack shoulder throw and a catch.
So what do you think about Micah Alejado?
I'm going to say he throws a catchable ball. I'm going to say he has a little bit more velocity than maybe people give him credit, and he has enough quickness, and this is a good audition.
7 minutes left to play. And again, he's going to pull it and keep it himself. Breaks a tackle. And Alejado, slight of build. I mean, his frame, again, listed 5'10", 180. He is not your prototypically sized quarterback, but that is not a prerequisite for success, as we have seen even in the history of Hawaii football. And he has seemed to play with a certain level of confidence here this afternoon.
The guys from Bishop Gorman's light bulbs are on. Look at Jemai Otis. He's not very tall, but he's a heck of a football player. Look at Elijah Palmer. Same thing. And Micah Alejado. These guys are good football players.
He's going to throw to this side, and that is caught. It is Kamoku again. And so Micah Alejado now 10 for 11 throwing.
On the tackle, number 21.
That's another first down here for this Rainbow Warrior offense.
And it's not a ton of yardage, but it's taking what the defense will give you, and that's what the run and shoot is all about. There's going to be certain things that they're going to take away. If it's too high, they're taking away the deep ball. Then it's important to throw to the underneath receiver.
So 10 for 11 for what is officially being totaled as 67 yards for Micah Alejado. With some time, he's going to throw it deep, has a man wide open, Dakel Crowdis, and Hawaii finally finds the end zone, 44 yards, and career TD toss #1 for Micah Alejado.
Hopefully many more to come, and obviously a bust in coverage, but you still got to throw it to the right guy with the right trajectory and make it a catchable ball, and you're going to see the switch. And somebody had that deep half of the field, but again, good throw, and that's Micah's first touchdown, and he had 100 and something in high school.
I mean, you start thinking about it, and as the kick up by Kansei Matsuzawa is good. And this has actually turned into a pretty strong showing here under the circumstances for Micah Alejado in his play to become the future QB1 for this program.
Yeah, and, you know, put it into perspective, but at the same time, there hasn't been a throw that hasn't been on the money. And again, short game, deep game, figure out what the coverage is and throw to the right receiver. That's the run and shoot. You have to be on the same page.
And for Dekel Crowdis, his third touchdown reception, had a season-long 74-yard TD catch against UNLV in the loss last week.
Then it averages over 20 yards of reception. He's the deep threat. He's not evident in every football game, but when he does, it's usually for 20-plus yards.
Yeah, how about 24 yards per catch this season for Dekel Crowdis?
That's big time.
And Alejandro going over, congratulating the rest of the offensive unit.
And that's what quarterbacks do, right? If you want those linemen to love you up, make good decisions, get rid of the football, and be a leader.
5:42 left to play, and at the very least, a glimmer of pleasure for Hawaii just to see one get into the end zone.
Yeah, and to see your quarterbacks get an opportunity. And you never like to get an opportunity by injury, but that's the game of football.
6-play, 75-yard drive, just under 3 minutes for Hawaii. And now Utah State's offense once again coming back out onto the field. Well, we've had, I would have to say, with the exception of certainly how this game has played out from the Hawaii perspective, we've had a pretty fun time here in the state of Utah. We stayed in Salt Lake City for a night, stayed here in Logan last night, and we even took the opportunity, per some of those in the know who suggested it. As once again, it's a running play here for Utah State. We made a visit to the famous Aggie Ice Cream Parlor. And there's the picture right there. Myself and Rich Miano sitting very cozy on the cow bench just outside the ice cream parlor. But it's really a part of the USU curriculum, the Department of Nutrition, Dietetics, and Food Sciences, where food science students actually gain some real-world experience in dairy production. And those are some of the delicious results that we were able to sample.
Only thing I'm disappointed, I didn't get the triple scoop.
Yeah. The doubles were the only thing that we went for. In mass, our entire crew.
Thinking about my diet, and I shouldn't have been, because that was delicious.
Speaking of cows. Well, we definitely do want to give a shout out to all of those who were affiliated with the Utah State football program, support staff, for their hospitality. They've been really, really gracious to us, as well as our crew members from around town.
Be careful, don't melt yourself. Don't start on fire.
And this is going to be a keeper. This is Bryson Barnes on first down, able to get what amounts to about 5.
Every time you talk about those road trips, I'm just nervous you're going to talk about my golf, my traveling into, mountains and the visual effects of driving when I get to the mainland, but I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I appreciated the invite to golf earlier this week, which never actually came.
Next time. Next road trip, and that's 2025?
We'll see. Under 4 minutes to go here. 52-10 Utah State. They have dominated from the get-go. And this is going to go for a big run. And this is going to be a foot race. And finally being brought down at the 5-yard line, Nick Floyd, the 5'9", 190-pound junior from Riverside, California.
There are more missed tackles, and these, again, I go back to that running back room, the stable, the Stallions, as I talked about in, my keys to the game. Well, Utah State came out throwing the ball. The Stallions weren't even involved much in the first couple of series, but they are now racking up the yards.
That was 53 yards there for Floyd. And Utah State has now rushed for 319 yards as a squad. The total yardage, if you were wondering, how about 578 for the Aggies? Tackle made there by Anthony Sangapolutele, who is the cousin of John Keave Sangapolutele.
I made that comment.
Second goal at the 7-yard line.
This is going to be a keeper here by Barnes, following a blocker, goes airborne, flips into the The signal is a touchdown, but there is a flag back at the 6-yard line.
I think this one's coming back, but pretty athletic on the perimeter by the dual threat. You're going to see a complete 360 flip, avoids landing on his head. Wow.
Awaiting the announcement here, we got another fairly lengthy discussion among the officiating crew. Does this one come back?
Personal foul, chalk block, number 60 and 72 on the offense. It'll be 15 yards to the previous spot. Still second down.
This could be one of those what they call high-low situations. You cannot go down below the waist on the offensive line. They called it on 2 offensive linemen.
Yeah, when a player is engaged, if there is a second one that goes below the belt, essentially.
Yeah, there it is, right on Anthony Sagopolutelli, right? It's the tackle of the, I think it's the tackle coming down as he's engaged, as you mentioned, and that's very dangerous. There's a lot of knee injuries, and glad they took that out of the game of football, and you can't be doing that.
So this becomes now 2nd and goal from all the way back at the 22. It'll be a give. This is Floyd being driven back. Nothing doing there. Hawaii defensive front holding firm, and that should take us to the 2-minute timeout here in quarter number 4. So Hawaii finally gets into the end zone, but it is still a 52-10 differential on the scoreboard. Welcome back, Rasul Faison. He has been fantastic here this afternoon. He has gone for a career-high 191 rushing yards and also has a pair of touchdown runs, 37 yards in length apiece. He has been dominant.
Yeah, he just sets guys and the vision to understand where the next level is. Sometimes guys are not even touching him, but he has juked more Hawaii defenders. He's as impressive as I've seen, and we've seen Ashton Jeanty this season.
Bank of Hawaii presents the players of the game. Micah Alejado getting the nod. Off the sideline, goes for 11 of 12, 111 yards, and a touchdown toss. And Faison, you see the average 9.6 as we return to live action. And Bryson Barnes trying to keep it here on 3rd and goal. And it's going to bring up 4th down. Nalu Emerson making the play.
Yeah, and Mike has done everything you're supposed to do in terms of making the reads, making the throws, in executing the offense.
And so Tanner Cragen going to try for a 37-yard field goal. We saw him hit from 32 yards back in the first quarter. As long as 40, that came against Wyoming in late October. This one is up. And he hasn't missed anything here today. Perfect in extra points, and now 2 for 2 in field goals.
I can't recall a special teams play that affected the Aggies. They've all been positive.
55-10. We're going to need perhaps some muscle massages. Maybe the Theragun or something.
I can do that many push-ups, but it's going to take me like 20 to 30 sets.
Yeah, see the push-ups right here. That's what we were alluding to.
Wow.
A lot of lactic acid building up.
Most push-ups all season.
I mean, what a performance here by Utah State. It is their highest point total of the season.
And look at the schedule. USC, Temple in Philadelphia, Washington State, Boise State, San Diego State. I mean, that's a tough schedule, but I promise you, this is the best execution all season long by all 3 phases, and it just happens Hawaii is the opponent.
Yeah, and multiple losses by fairly slim margins. They lose at Temple. They lose at Boise State. Those were a little bit more lopsided, but as you get into Mountain West play, lost to New Mexico by 5. So there were some opportunities perhaps for this team to finish stronger in some of those games.
Yeah, and the reason I had trepidation is because when you look at UNLV Boise, which really is the class of the Mountain West Conference in terms of athletes, they were close to 500 yards of offense against both of those defenses. So I'm like, this is the real deal offensively.
John Keawe Sangapolutele now in at quarterback here for Hawaii. It could be the last possession for the Rainbows this afternoon here in Logan. And this is David Cordero on the carry, and he's able to scamper for about 7. So if you're Timmy Chang, Rich, what is the thought process here? You have a bye week to kind of A, sit with this, and B, get over this. How do you begin to process what transpired here at Maverik Stadium?
Because of the bowl elimination mathematically, I think you have to start thinking about the future. And the future, obviously, is Micah Alihado in terms of, and then you don't know the extent of Shager's injury, but you have to continue, you have to think about the future. We know what the present is.
And that's
agree, disagree?
That's going to be Christian Vaughn on the carry there. I mean, yeah, they need to take care of business against New Mexico. I think to try to go out into the offseason on a positive note is going to be significant, I think, certainly from the perspective of the fan base. But there are going to be questions. There are going to be conversations about where does this program go from here as the clock ticks all the way down, and that will do it here for this one. Utah State absolutely dominant over the Rainbow Warriors. Final score 55-10. Hawaii falls to 4-7, 2-4 in the Mountain West. And for Utah State, what a win. Just their 3rd of the season, now 2-3 in the league. That will do it for us. Don't forget about the post-game show. For Rich Miano, I'm Kanoa Leahy. On behalf of the rest of our Spectrum Sports crew, we bid you aloha on a tough day for the Bows in Logan, Utah.